Sports Finals with you as always, and what a great night of sports we have lined up for you this evening. The LSU Tigers and Ole Miss Rebels renew an old Southern traditional rivalry tonight, and we'll have the replay for you in just a matter of moments. We're going to turn it over to John Ferguson, Burt Jones, and Doug Morrow for the play-by-play account of the battle between the Rebels and Tigers in just a moment. A big, big week, as we mentioned. It was the week that Kenny Stabler went public with his comments against Bum Phillips and the philosophy of the New Orleans Saints offensively. It was the week the LSU Tiger basketball team premiered for the first time for all the fans to see in front of 8,000 or perhaps even better on hand at the LSU Assembly Center for what in essence was a practice game between freshmen and veterans. It was also a big week from the National Football League standpoint. We'll give you everything you ever wanted to know about that and then some. And also the week the Southern University Jaguars rebounded against North Carolina A&T, winning at A.W. Mumford Stadium last night. Well, we're going to tell you about all of that at halftime of tonight's game. As usual, when we have an LSU replay, we are the halftime show. The Sunday Sports Final segment that you've become accustomed to seeing at 11 o'clock comes to you at halftime of tonight's replay of the Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels. By the way, a little program note, we'll have the Tigers and Alabama Crimson Tide for you this time next week, right here on Channel 9 at the same time. Right now, though, let's take you to a Donnybrook. What a great game it was in the true tradition of these two fine institutions in the Southeastern Conference. The Tigers and Ole Miss Rebels. Let's go now to Tiger Stadium. John Ferguson, Doug Morrow, and Burt Jones for the call. Gentlemen.
Earning the nickname of Mr. Cool because he is that. He's always definitely in charge. The Frank kicks off to Davis, number 9, deep in the end zone, and he lets it go by. And it'll be first down for the Ole Miss Rebels at their 20.
Couldn't imagine a more perfect way for Matt DeFrank to start it out. Ole Miss's offense there, and you're going to see possibly a lot of option running, and also Tim Moffitt, number 30, that split in as a great receiver. Ken Austin is the starting quarterback. It may be that Ole Miss is going to substitute and put in a youngster who can throw the ball very, very well, David McKinney.
First down the Rebels at their 20 as we start the game, and that is Humphrey who's banged down shy of the 25-yard line. The Tigers defensively appear ready to play with a new nose guard and a new defensive left tackle. Here is the way the Tigers line up defensively. You see Hazard at defensive left end and Tommy Clapp at nose guard. And that's the principal change that we have in the defense. There's the secondary for the Tigers. Second down after a 2-yard gain. The Rebels are at their 22. Just beginning play. Ken Austin, number 5. Option play. He's handed it off to Humphreys, and he wades up to about the 28-yard line. Good hitting again by the Tigers, and that's Michael Brooks. We showed you his picture at the start of the telecast, and he is a tough fellow, number 94.
He is a tough fellow. He's been the standout for the LSU defense throughout the year, and he's going to have a big game this week because a lot of his responsibility is going to be that option play that you see coming down the line, and LSU hasn't faced it a whole lot this year, and they're going to have to stop it today to be successful.
Right is Harbor. Third down and 2 is the situation. Ole Miss at its 28. Option play again. Pitch out. Bad one. LSU ball inside the 25. There's the big turnover to start the game. It happened in comparable fashion 2 years ago here, right at the beginning of the game, in a runaway by LSU. So the Tigers now have the ball after the fumble recovery, which we show you again.
Coming down the line, you see Greg Dubrock there, Jeffrey Dale coming in, making a play. It wasn't real bad a pitch. It was just a little bit of loose ball early in the game. Everybody doesn't have a handle on the ball, and nor did we, but we just had more men on the pile, I think, though.
Guidry and Dale. Dale finally ends up with it. First down at the Ole Miss 23. A slip and a carry by Hilliard.
That was pretty much the same play that LSU started off with here, the Tiger offense, and they have blocked very, very well this year. Lance Smith there at right tackle, who is the leader of that offensive group along the front line. Jeff Wickersham, who's had some problems earlier in the year with key interceptions, but number 21, Dalton Hilliard, who is the man who can make the great run at any time.
Here are the Tigers at the 22-yard line now, and a pitch out comes to Dalton Hilliard, short side run. We're going to credit Parad, number 66, with the principal stop on the tackle.
And you can keep your eye on number 31, Nunn. He is an outstanding linebacker. He's listed as a right defensive end, but he is tall, 6'4", about 230, and he roams all over the field playing linebacker, rushing the passers, got excellent speed.
Third down at the Rebel 20. Wickersham back to throw. Open and James deep. He feeds the ball to Martin inside the 15. It'll be close for the first down. Birdie had James in the moonlight.
He did have James in the corner of the end zone, but there again is third down, 8 yards to go. The principal thing to do is pick up a first down. They were thinking first down. James primarily was a clear-out man here on this. They're running against a two-kick zone where there are 2 men in the zone. He just hits a man underneath.
And that was Freddie Nunn, number 31 there. You've talked about him already tonight. And here comes the measurement to see if Wickersham and the Tigers have first and 10 inside the 15-yard line.
And these, to me, are interesting measurements to watch. LSU does have the first down. You see the marker on the near side that's down right at the sideline. The official will put that down on the side opposite the chain, and that's what Eric Martin used to guide the depth of his route. Now, he went downfield. If it turned out that he had not made the first down, you kind of have to blame that on the official because of an improper marking of that orange triangle that's on the sideline.
Harold Johnson spotted the ball at the Rebel 13. First down. 6-yard line or so. Stopped by safety man Howard Moss, the 38, and Freddie Nunn, 31.
It's just a quick hitter up the middle. It's really a trap. Ratson comes in, traps a nose tackle or the man over the guard, whichever the case may be. And Dawson just hits it right behind him, a quick hitting play.
Second down, 3 at the Rebel 6. No score. Tigers threatening. Hilliard to the 1. Piled up at the 1-yard line. It's first down and goal to go. That's Jim Parad and company on the tackle. And the Tigers are really showing muscle at the beginning of the game.
John LSU got the big break early, and here you see just a handoff, and it's a power play with Raskin leading up inside. Herman Fontenot up there, and here you just keeps his leg driving. He almost fought his way into the end zone. It's a pretty good place to have a first down.
Wayne Key, strong side right. Hilliard at right guard. In a spot like this for LSU, we've seen old pro Jenny Taylor do that hurdling business up in the air, but this time Hilliard just was a little too far out. He was met in midair by Barry Wilburn and Benton Reed, 27 and 83. Hilliard has carried the ball 5 times, has gained 15 yards. It's second down, goal to go at the Rebel 1. LSU in possession. And Hilliard does not make it. Yes, he does make it. He's in the end zone. Arnsparger's happy. The Tiger fans are happy. And Hilliard has just scored a big touchdown for the LSU Tigers to put the Tigers out front by a score of 6-0. Here it is again.
And, John, it looked like he wasn't going to make it at first. He got to the line of scrimmage, started to make his leap. He got met, but he just kept leaning forward and kind of twisted sideways into the end zone as he came down. Fine effort by Hilliard. Of course, he had pretty good blocking on the right side that opened up a little seam for him to get through.
But Tanzas, who's missed 2 points after this year, will be kicking from the 10-yard line to add the point after.
3.
He's missed his 3rd of the year. We'll be back to action in a minute. Time out of the game. The score is Tigers 6, Rebels nothing.
Because different foods keep best at different temperatures, this Amana No Frost refrigerator freezer has 4 separate cold controls, more than any other refrigerator. This freezer control maintains precise settings for frozen foods. Another one adjusts the main compartment temperature. And Amana even provides 2 separate controls for the fresh meat and vegetable crisper drawers. Amana refrigerator freezers, a little more costly for a lot more quality.
In Denham Springs, Hoover Appliances has a big selection of high-quality Amana products at great low prices.
That was Hilliard's 12th touchdown of the year. The kickoff by DeFrank goes to the end zone again, and Davis, number 9, lets it fly and bounce. And it's first down, the Rebels at their 20.
Juan Batanzas, John, with that extra point miss, he certainly is not having a very good year. You need to follow up plays like this with that conversion. Hilliard goes to the right side, jumps up and over and twists coming down. But LSU needs to get that extra point, and Batanzas, Bert, I think it's kind of getting to him with the year that he's had so far.
I don't think there's any question about it. You can see his confidence level just dropping week by week because he has missed a couple of key field goals and extra points. Last week they missed an opportunity to really put Notre Dame away early, 10-0 lead, and he missed a field goal, and it just kind of changed the momentum of the game, and I think it changed the momentum of his feeling.
And that kind of business gets to be very important at this stage of the season.
And kickers are such temperamental people as a rule, Doug, even though you were a kicker. I think that you'll find that they're very trendy. In other words, if they're hot, and if they're not, they're not. And when they get cold, they think about it because there's only one man out there then. It's not really a team sport then. There's just one pressure position.
We're going to kick off again. DeFrank, number 3, who also can get field goals and extra points, by the way. We'll try it again after a 5-yard penalty against the Tigers for offsides on the kickoff. He can kick it out of sight. Davis back in the end zone, bobbles it and won't run it out. So the situation remains the same. The Rebels have the ball first and 10 at their 20. I got the feeling that DeFrank is really kicking three-quarter style because he can kick it a long way.
He can. He's got a gifted leg. I think if there's one complaint about Matt this far into the game is that he's a little bit slow on kicking field goals and extra points. He doesn't approach the ball quite quick enough for a lot of the coaches' confidence yet, but he is a good kicker. He's developing and will be a great one, I think.
You saw what the Rebels have done offensively. That's Ken Austin on the option. Arthur Humphreys, number 40, carries the ball straight ahead. Little dive play out of the split back formation, and Michael Brooks is one of those to make the stop for the LSU Tigers, who lead 6-0. And we have 10 minutes and a half to play in quarter number 1 here at Tiger Stadium. You can't watch this series, any game in this series, without thinking of things like Burt throwing the tying touchdown pass to Brad Davis down here on the south and other things. There's a bad pitch on again. There's another LSU recovery inside the 20, and Michael Brooks pops on this one as Austin throws that ball back there to Joe Mickles, and the handle is lost on it, and the Tigers have their second big opportunity here.
And watch this play. Michael not only makes him make a bad pitch by coming in on Ken Austin quick, but he beats the halfback to the football while it's lying on the ground. That's amazing speed and amazing athlete right there in linebacker position. He's as good as I've seen at this stage of anybody's career.
Don't say that lightning doesn't strike in the same place more than once, because this same thing happened 2 years ago here. Gary James was chased off the field after popping off a would-be tackler in the middle of the line. Freddie Nunn and Barry Wilburn finally knock him off the field somewhere around the line of scrimmage.
Bert, I tell you, you mentioned a little while ago that LSU here with Gary James taking the ball, spinning to the outside, not getting much out of it, that LSU was going to have to stop the option play. And I can't think of a better way to stop it than when Ole Miss runs it 2 times. They fumble it to the right, they fumble it to the left. LSU recovers both of those things in great position to score.
There's a reverse play, and here comes Martin. They'll get him out, and he's going to get to the 15, to the 12.
And he
fumbles, and Harrod has recovered for the Ole Miss Rebels. Well, we want to see a replay on that one for sure, as the Tigers come right back and fumble the ball back to the Rebels, making what could be a key mistake early in the game.
And here it is, John, as you see. Jeff Wickersham, watch Raji McGee come in here if you have a chance. He knocked that guy's lights out. Eric Martin, a high school halfback, shows that he has good running ability, but he forgot to hold on to the ball there.
And that's Freddie Joe Nunn coming in. He didn't really strip it away. I think Eric just dropped the ball, Bert, but it's a very inopportune time to do it. LSU seems to be getting into the trend of doing that, having a chance to close it out early and not taking advantage.
Now it's first down, the Rebels at their 12, and another line plunge up to about the 15-yard line, maybe a little beyond, is stopped by Burks, Chapman, and John Hazard. It'll be interesting to see how Hazard adjusts to a full game playing defensive left end. He has all of the ability, of course, and is only a sophomore. Played high school football at Jesuit High School in New Orleans. Now from the 16. He's down along 6 to go. Humphreys and Wansley are back behind Ken Austin. to the 19. And as they unravel there, let's watch the last Tiger to get up, and that's going to be Carl Wilson. Good player.
And LSU's done a good job of stopping this dive play. This is the first step of a triple option series out of the veer if they're going to run that. And they've stopped it in the middle, and you can understand why Ole Miss is kind of reluctant to make the pitch. The 2 times they've done it, the halfback has dropped the ball, and I'm sure Austin would like to at least let his 48-yard punter get a kick out of here rather than fumbling deep inside the 20.
Number 5 is Kent Austin. He has Moffitt to the right side. Throws to the back man, but Wansley gets it for a loss. Loses about 6 or 7. Brooks is back there harassing him. And Wansley gets a reception, but for negative yardage.
Wansley just drops out in the flat, expecting it's kind of like a quick screen play where they have one blocker out there specifically for Michael Brooks. And he's the one specific person that they did not pick up, and he comes in and makes the play behind the line of scrimmage.
LSU's been facing great kickers who become greater this season every game. This is Bill Smith of Ole Miss. He can kick it a country mile. That was blocked, but he kicks it away. And Norman Jefferson is at the 42, fumbles and falls on it at the 43. Butterfingers there a little bit. A 45-yard kick and a 1-yard return, recovering the bubble. Robert Smith was down there on Norman Jefferson, so there was no chance for a return. But you know, that's right. All of the kickers LSU has faced this year, field goal kickers and punters, have had their finest nights against the Tigers in 1984.
There's a way to combat that, you know. Let your guys have their finest nights, too.
Wickersham hits Martin on a knee at the 49. It's complete, and so he got 6 yards on it. No tackle. Cunningham was on top of him. Cunningham, number 43, right cornerback.
Now, this is a pass it would not hurt for Jeff to throw all night long if he has the opportunity. He's got Martin out here with only one person deep. He doesn't have a man short in an area who can knock the ball down or intercept it. And Jeff needs to get in that rhythm of completing the ball and throwing it hard.
Second down 4, and there's a quick shot out to Fontenot. First down. Still going inside the 40. Out of bounds at the 36. Chased away by Lee Davis. That's 14 yards for him and the Tigers. Now, this brings up a point as the Tigers are going to have a little short time here as we watch the play again. Fontenot gets the first down.
And you see Herman just dropping back. It was a design play where it's almost a screen because Eric Martin is out on the outside with him in a slot position, which means 2 wide receivers to one side. And he's not a receiver. He's really a blocker. He waits till Herman caught the ball, and he goes downfield and blocks for him.
Rafton in motion. Pitch out comes here to Gary James. 40-yard line. He was slowed behind the line.
Pretty good play there by Johnny Armstrong.
That's right. I was just going to say in the course of that other play there, Bert and Doug, that a lot of people are characterizing the LSU offense, passing attack primarily, as an east-west type offense. And I guess the Tigers do perhaps go laterally a little more than they go downfield. You get fewer interceptions that way, I guess.
You do get fewer interceptions. I don't necessarily regard them, as you see.
There's a little flare pass to Hilliard. He can't hold his footing. He's down at the 39. It's going to be 3rd down and 13.
And, you know, there's a lot to that, John. Here you're going to see another example of it. And it's okay to go east-west, I think, as long as at the end of it you finish up north-south. That time they had an opportunity to pick up a few yards. Hilliard slipped near the sideline and wasn't able to pick up the yardage that he needed.
And now, Bert, you have another viewpoint about that as a passer. Here's Wickersham back again. Pumps one time, goes down the middle.
Touchdown!
That is McGee. Can't get it. It's incomplete. He led him a little too much. Incomplete for a sure 6 points. That man can get open.
That was north and south, but
Yes,
it was almost touchdown. This is a good play on Jeff's part, except for the throw. He fakes the weak safety off by looking to the left side of the football, and then he comes back and finds Roger McGee downfield, wide open. He just overthrew him a little bit. I bet he wishes he'd had that one back, Doug.
That's right. And here is Clay Parker, punter, on 4th down and 13 from the Rebel 39 to go for the corner, perhaps. Cross field. Wobbly kick that's going to bounce inside the 10. 5. And the Tigers down it around the 5-yard line. 37 yards, but Parker got the good mileage out of that attempt.
He did do that. It was a fine punt. They almost messed up by batting the ball into the end zone down there when there was no Ole Miss Rebel around it, and the ball had almost stopped. Fortunately for us, we had another man standing at almost at the end zone, keeping that from happening. Fine play there. But you're right, John. They have done a lot of east-west throwing, yet they're still an up-the-field type throwing team a good bit. I think they do that primarily because most teams have been dropping off with their linebackers and getting depth in their drops, which constitutes you almost have to throw short.
The Rebels from their 5. Option play. Wansley hit hard, very hard by the Tigers' number 29, and that's Lifford Hobley.
And that was a fine play by Hobley, because as the play developed, you're going to see Austin come down the line, and he makes the pitch just at the right time. He makes Jeffrey Dale commit to him, gets it out to Wansley, and Hobley comes over from inside and sticks helmet to helmet, pushing Wansley back for really about a 3.5-yard gain when it could have been much longer.
The ball is nosed up to the 10, so it'll be second down and, well, about 6 as it turns out. There goes Austin to the other side, pitches out again, and Wansley goes to the other side. He's down at the 15, hit by Guidry. Kevin Guidry has really come on to be a very adequate cornerback for LSU this year.
He had, and he's a good hitter, but I tell you, if you give him too many opportunities like this, there's nobody who can make tackles in the open field like this all day long, because he's out there one-on-one, and he has nobody to protect him. He made a fine tackle on Wansley, but I don't think you can ask that of your cornerback play after play. They're going to have to get a little bit more support from the inside.
First down on the measurement, just outside the 15. Mario Perry, number 81, you see there in the huddle. He was a surprise starter at tight end for the Rebels. Weighs 216. With Memphis, Nathan Wansley. Ole Miss leading rusher and receiver after 8 games. By the way, in total offense so far, Ole Miss has 8 yards, LSU 46, so we're not breaking any records so far in the game. We have 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. LSU leads 6-0. Humphreys with Chapman hanging on to the 23.
Ole Miss is really trying to test LSU, John, everywhere, and they're using basically the same type of thing. They're running the ball inside with the fullback, but they're trying to run a pretty consistent option series where they're testing the Tigers all along the line. And I think that what they're trying to do is to figure out if Tommy Clapp is going to be effective play after play, and if John Hazard is going to be able to make the adjustments he needs after having been on offense for so long.
It would seem they've passed the test so far. And the Tigers are playing a very, very suspect veer formation. Long pass down the way. And look out! Open is Ambrose. He's going to score, and the game all of a sudden is tied. It's a 77-yard play as Ambrose, a Louisiana boy from Monroe, recruited heavily by the Tigers and other schools and signed with Ole Miss after some preparatory work, gets behind the Tiger defender, and the game is tied up.
He certainly did, and there's the play, Doug. You're talking about the corners being one-on-one outside. Not only are they one-on-one on the tackles, they're one-on-one in coverage trying to stop this option play. And similar to the play down in Florida, Norman Jefferson just kind of relaxes a little bit, lets the man get behind him, and doesn't realize that he has as good a speed as Norman does.
And here is the try for point after, and it is good by Howard. And so, with 4:07 to go in the first quarter, here's your score. The Ole Miss Rebels 7, the LSU Tigers 6.
Swan Mobile Homes, with 2 locations, specializes in reconditioned, repossessed mobile homes. Swan Mobile Homes will give you a super deal on a good mobile home. For $500 down and 14.9% simple interest, you can purchase that home today. We're located at Airline Highway and LA 30, 2 miles south of Gonzales, and on Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, right next to the Burger King. Come and see us today at Swan Mobile Homes. We want to make a super deal with you.
The kickoff as we get back to play. The Rebels take a 1-point lead. Smith kicks down to Fontenot at the 5. Here he comes. 21-yard line. And he was slowed in the beginning by the Rebels, number 86, who is Henry Hill, a flanker, and works on special teams. That was Ambrose's first catch this year, by the way, a 77-yarder as he got behind Jefferson, and the Rebels, after the point after by John Howard, have the lead 7-6.
They might throw to him again, John, if he does that every time.
They might do that. Just goes to show you the power of the air game. That was a 95-yard drive altogether. From the 21, Wickersham to Hilliard. Short side, wrapped up by Reed, number 83.
John, I tell you something that it really points out, that long touchdown pass, was that here you see Wickersham with the pitch to the weak side. Hilliard looks like he's having some problem with his footing. His footing has slipped 2 or 3 times so far in this ball game. Back to the long touchdown pass. It points out the difference between Jeff Wickersham just overthrowing Raji McGee, which would have given LSU a two-touchdown lead, and Austin hitting Ambrose on the numbers for that touchdown. What a swing it made.
2nd and 9. Hilliard is chased by Fuzzy Huddleston. He's down at about the 27 or 8. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Louisiana State University and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of its audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Louisiana State University is prohibited. 3rd down, the Tigers are at their 28. Wickersham, quick shot out to the right. Fontenot has the 1st down at the 37 or 8. Wilburn makes the stop.
John, anytime you consistently throw the ball and throw a pass pattern like this, that shows an awful lot of confidence in your quarterback, because it takes a gun to get that ball out there before those defensive cornerbacks react. And they've seen it a few times. It's not the first time they've thrown this play throughout the year. So they know that it's going to come 2 or 3 times during the game, and yet he's still able to get the ball there prior to them reacting to the ball.
From the 37, none. Wraps up Hilliard, no gain. Of course, that's the kind of pass that, if properly timed defensively, is easily intercepted.
Well, when you're out there by yourself, it's typically 6 points, as we've seen that happen a couple of times against LSU. Here you see none. An awful good ball player. He's an awful rangy type individual to be an outside linebacker. In other words, he looks almost like he should almost be a defensive back.
He's 6'4 and a half, weighs 233, number 31 for Ole Miss. 2nd down play. Blakemore blitzes in and pulls Hilliard down, and Hilliard is not having the best of evenings so far. You want to see that one again, too. Hilliard is muscled down at the 34-yard line.
Bob Blakemore seems like he's been at Ole Miss ever since Ole Miss had football. I know that he hasn't, but here he made the type of play that the Rebels need to get fired up defensively. That's 2 fine plays consecutively, none in Blakemore, and those kind of plays really will charge up the entire Rebel football team.
Hilliard has carried the ball 10 times so far, has gained 21 yards. Wilburn blitzing, and it's a pass outside, incomplete. And we have a flag maybe on this one.
It's against LSU. It's a legal procedure. They got a little bit movement out of the wing back on the right side, but certainly Ole Miss will decline it. It'll give LSU a 4th down.
Safety blitz had got the attention of Mr. Wickersham. You've seen Joe Hicks give the signal, and Wilburn, who was the blitz figure on that particular defensive play for Ole Miss, is passing on the decision with
wing back on the right side, moving in motion.
You can't tell Mr. Hicks is from the South. All right, 4th down as the penalty is going to be declined.
Weak safety coming back from about 8 or 9 yards back. You can see him how he cheated up there as Wilburn comes into the play now. And Jeff read him. Just really didn't have a good pass pattern out there. I'm not sure the receivers read blitz and got open for him.
Bill Arnsparger's team is 1 point down, 7-6. Clay Parker to punt, either to Moffitt or Goodlow. Gets the kick away, and it's a very nice kick. Moffitt from the 25 is hit hard, and we have a flag on the play, and it could be that Steve Rehage, number 7, was too close when the ball came down, regardless of whether Moffitt caught it. That would carry a 15-yarder. 41-yard kick by Parker. Here comes the ball down.
Steve Rehage is almost in every special teams play all year. And once again, he was right there. But that was a questionable call because he was in contact with the blocker.
5 yards of the receiving team. 5-yard penalty.
5-yard penalty. All right. You can't interfere with the receiver's ability to catch the ball. And, of course, you have certain restrictions on punts downfield, and so Ole Miss gets 5 yards on it.
I guess what the penalty was, John, you've got to give a 6-foot area between the tackler and the receiver so that he has ample room to catch it. And Rehaj, I guess, was inside of the 6-foot area, but I got to agree with you. He kind of got blocked into it by somebody who was back there protecting the returner.
First down, the Rebels at their 30. The Rebels hold a 7-6 lead late in the first quarter here at Tiger Stadium. There's the option. The carry by Humphrey and the tackle by Chapman. 5-yard gain.
John, it'll be kind of interesting to see what type of adjustments LSU makes. Ole Miss has run that option series the entire ball game. The inside handoff that you see here, that hasn't picked them up a lot of yardage, but they've run a couple of options, and then they threw the long pass, and LSU's secondary's got to be in a quandary as to whether to come up or stay back and help.
Humphrey, the ball carrier there at 2nd and 5. Here's that option to this side. Wansley with the ball. A flag as first contact is made by Sean Burks, and the polish-off tackle is completed by Lifford Hobley. We may have a clip on the play.
Looks like you're going to have a penalty called on Jamie Holder. He was split out on the right side and was trying to block and ended up making contact with the back, or else holding the LSU cornerback to get him out of the play. Did get him out of the play. It was effective, but I guess one of the reasons it was effective is because he had to grab him. That usually is pretty effective. Here you see the option to the right side. Austin again waits to the last second, makes Dale commit, and then makes the pitch. And you're going to see right close to the screen, you saw Kevin Guidry. He was just out of camera range because his jersey was being pulled by Jamie Holder. And that's, of course, a pretty good way to get someone away from the ball carrier. But when you do it right in front of the referee, he's going to throw that flag most of the time.
Illegal use of hands and a 5-yard assessment back to the 27-yard line. It is 2nd down. 2nd down and 13, in fact. Humphrey and now Mickles are the setbacks behind Ken Austin as Bates back to throw. Or run to the left. He's going to throw. If he can. That's Clapp. Got him inside the 30-yard line. Good pursuit by the big man, number 97, and Wilson lends assistance on the tackle.
That was a fine play by Tommy Clapp, running down the line, almost running down Ken Austin. He took the correct pursuit angle, knowing that he had to go upfield eventually, so he just ran to the sidelines, hoping that he could cut him off before he got there.
Here come the Rebels, and we have the end of the first quarter. That's the end of the first quarter here at Tiger Stadium. Here's your score in this SEC game. Ole Miss 7, LSU 6.
It's Wilson's 36th anniversary, and we're celebrating with spectacular savings throughout the store. Like 25% off our entire selection of 14-karat tricolor jewelry, 25% off all our 14 and 18-karat gold chains, 25% off a great selection of 14-karat gold earrings, and save on a brilliant assortment of diamond solitaires, like this 1/2-karat diamond, $7.95. So hurry to Wilson's 36th and make it a happy anniversary for you.
During the Armstrong First Family of Floors sweepstakes and sale, you can win a family reunion vacation anywhere in the U.S.
At Westside Materials, Port Allen.
At the Ole Miss 45. Draw play. Humphrey. 10-yarder. Spilled by James Pearson, number 25, freshman from New Orleans. Well, Humphrey has been one of the leading receivers for this team in past seasons. This year, he's only caught 8 into the game for 30 yards, but he gets almost 10 yards here.
It's a game where they're really concerned with the option, yet the pass is beating them thus far in the game. They're coming out for the measurement. Humphrey almost made it, or we'll find out whether he made it or not. And I think that's troubling Bill right now because he had his corner slip up there on one play, and it puts him behind in the game.
Not quite a first down, about the length of your finger.
Now, I tell you, the things that look bad for the Tigers, at least for the time being, is that Ole Miss made two very, very critical errors with the fumbles deep in their own territory, and yet they're ahead in this ballgame. LSU has not taken advantage of those breaks, and they have given Ole Miss back the momentum that was taken away from them early in the game.
We're going to have second down in just an inch or two. Robert Smith, number 34, has replaced Arthur Humphrey, who hobbled off the field, but that was a good draw play the Rebels ran. We're just a few seconds into quarter number 2, and the Rebels have a 1-point lead, 7-6. We're beginning to see, Bert, how it is that this Rebel team from Oxford, Mississippi, played Auburn and Georgia very closely.
They took a lot out of them, according to George Smith, one of their assistant coaches. And here it is, a pass.
Pass, Austin, way down the field. It's incomplete. That was intended for James Harbor, number 25, who's caught 16 into this game. He was covered by Hobley and by Kevin Guidry. But that was the so-called waist down.
Well, I'm not sure it was a waist down, but I think it's indicative of the way Bill Arnsparger and John Simak coach defensively, is that if you ever get me once on a play like that where you catch my corner sleeping, I can almost bet you won't get me twice. And that time it was a fake run, yet they were trying to get the home run downfield, but both the corner and the weak safety were right in play.
Now they'll go for the first down, I'm sure, and here's the option. Austin has the first, plus considerable yardage. He's going to be spotted down at about the Tiger 37-yard line. Ricky Chapman spills him.
Bert, you called it before the game. LSU's having an awful difficult time stopping this option, and Ole Miss is running several variations. They'll pull a tackle, they'll pull a guard every now and then, they'll hand the ball off to the inside. Austin is being very successful making the right decision at the right time, and LSU really has not stuffed it very much at the line of scrimmage.
First down, the Rebels at the LSU 37-yard line. This Tiger team has lost only one game into this contest, and here's a run over right guard. Little dive play by Robert Smith that gets short yardage. The Rebels have lost 4. But the Rebels look pretty strong right now. Michael Brooks makes the tackle on this carry. The ball is at the Tiger 33-yard line, and it's second down and 6 yards to go.
And guess who's back in the ball game? J.R. Ambrose split out to the right side.
And he can really fly. Distinctly covered out there. Let's see what Austin does with him. Austin play to the other side. Pitch out. Here comes Bluntsley at the 25. By the shirt tail, Hobley pulls him out of bounds at about the 18-yard line.
And we have a
flag on the play?
We do. Ken Austin coming down the line. Michael Brooks just barely missed him there. He committed a little bit early.
And I tell you, that's something that'll really hurt when you have someone where Michael Brooks was on that play. He's got to make contact with the quarterback and make him get rid of it, because by missing him, it made Jeffrey Dale come up and take the quarterback, which left Wansley open for the pitch. Fortunately, Ole Miss is going to be set back with a penalty here, but those type of mistakes, you know, Bill Arnsparger's got a lot of gray hair, but if he didn't, he would have some by halftime.
And I'm kind of curious in my watching of this option play, because I felt like Bill Arnsparger, and I still do, I kind of think that he's probably going to try to knock the lights out on this quarterback, because the best way, in my opinion, to beat an option is to remove the option or.
That's why they don't run it in the NFL, because they're afraid.
Illegal use of the hands, 5-yard penalty.
I'll never forget, Lou Holtz came from up there, and he came down to the Jets to coach, and Joe Namath was there, and Joe didn't have very good wheels. And the first thing that he put in, John, was an option play. I remember Joe telling me about Lou Holtz telling me to run an option play down the line in pro football. It didn't last very long while it was there.
It wouldn't take. Second down 12 at the 39. Austin to the right on the run to throw. Complete. And Perry with the ball at the 30-yard line.
That was a fine play on Ken Austin's part, because anytime you have Michael Brooks standing right in your face and still able to throw the ball with that much velocity, you'll see Michael coming into the picture. That's a scary picture for a quarterback to have to look at, but he still gets the ball downfield and picks up a good gain for Ole Miss.
I'll tell you, Ole Miss did something there that Notre Dame was successful with last week, and that is getting the tight end out into the flat behind a flanker who's run deeper down the field. LSU's had a hard time covering that.
Timeout of the game called by the Rebels with 12:24 to go in the half. The score is Rebels 7, Tigers 6.
It's Wilson's 36th anniversary, and we're celebrating with spectacular savings throughout the store. Like this Charbroil gas grill with cart, stainless steel dual burners, redwood side shelf, and more. Sale price $117.88. And this Tuttle Model T battery-driven car by Wonder is just $21.88 after rebate. Kids can walk it, ride it, even drive it with its own battery-powered engine. So hurry to Wilson's 36th and make it a happy anniversary for you.
Third down and 4, the Rebels at the Tigers' 31-yard line. Austin is back to throw. That's Joyner.
And they're calling it incomplete.
I don't know about that one. Of course, his back was to us, and we want to look at that one again, but Joyner had the ball. It appeared for just a second. Here it is.
Ken Austin dropping back, straight drop back play. You don't see it very much from Ole Miss right now with him in there. Almost looks like he had the ball to me. Of course, I'm looking on the wrong side.
Burks had the opportunity to pop the ball away from him and did. Now here is John Howard, who in field goals is 10 out of 14 to kick a 47-yarder. It's on the way and is good. So with 12:10 to go in the first half, there's a timeout on the field again, and the Rebels have taken a 10-6 lead.
Protection, something we need every day. Whether we're at work or at play or on the way to both, we have to have protection. At Wright & Percy Insurance, that's what we do best. For 104 years, we've ensured the peace of mind that allows our clients to devote their full attention to their personal and professional goals without the fear of inadequate coverage. Just to be on the safe side, do what's right. Wright & Percy Insurance.
Ole Miss with really a surprising 10-6 lead. LSU came out early in the ball game, 2 quick fumble recoveries, scored a touchdown on one, and fumbled the ball right back. And since that time, Bert, it's looked like it's been all Rebel.
It certainly has. They've come up with the plays. They came up with a big 77-yard touchdown pass, 2 drives, one for 95 yards. That one along with it for 3 points, and they've got the momentum now as you see the kickoff.
Smith kicks to Fontenot. Good block back there.
Fumble.
And a fumble at the 15, but I think the whistle had blown. Fortuitous circumstance for Fontenot and the Tigers. LSU is trying to stop the reeling here. Here's Fontenot from the back, and
saw a good block by Sammy Martin there. Fontenot was ruled to be down, and I believe he was when the ball popped loose. But look at the enthusiasm on Ole Miss's coverage team, and that enthusiasm is pervading the entire Ole Miss team at this point.
Tigers from their 15 go to right guard with Hilliard. Short gain. Everybody in the line. There's Coach Jenkins. He was run into by Kevin Guidry in practice this week and had to go to the hospital.
That must mean he was in the way, huh?
I would guess.
Well, Coach isn't very happy right now because his line is not controlling that line of scrimmage. It's tough enough to defend an option football team even if you control the line of scrimmage because they have the option. But if you don't control that line of scrimmage, they're really going to hurt you.
Wickersham checking off at the line of scrimmage. It's 2nd down and 8 from the 17. He's back to throw. Long one down the way to Martin. He's there. It's too far. Out of bounds at about the 50-yard line. And over here on the right, Raji McGee was so far in the moonlight that his shadow didn't even show.
Well, that was a play where they felt as if the blitz was coming. Jeff Wickersham audibleized at the line of scrimmage, I think, as you pointed out, John. And it's hard to audibleize in this stadium because the crowd is so close to the field and so loud that it really is tough. So he had one way to go because he thought the blitz was coming, and he went with it.
3rd down and 8. Wickersham again to put it in the air. A lot of time. Here's Hilliard from it. He stopped inside 25-yard line. It's a big Tiger play. Barry Wilburn runs him down. And the Tigers come up with a big 58-yarder. Wickersham to Hilliard, and here it is.
And you see what good pass protection it does, because with this protection, Jeff had a chance to stand back there and wait and wait and wait, stretch that defense, and finally he found Dalton Hilliard out in the right flat. And if you're going to try to get in the open field to anyone, that's the guy to get it to. He's got enough speed and quickness and moves. Here he drags tacklers 5, 10, 12, 15 yards after he's hit.
From the 23, there's John Baptiste to the 20. Terry Williamson, nose guard, makes the stop on him at the 20-yard line.
That may very well have been the break that LSU needed. They needed to get a momentum kick, and that was an awful big one, because really all it was an outlet pass that turned out to be a 58-yard pass.
Second down, a long 7 to go at the Rebel 20-yard line. LSU down by 4. Wickersham to the air. In the end zone, James doesn't get it. Tried to catch it with the left hand. We have a flag on the play. Wickersham is into the game, incomplete.
And, John, this was the same play that you saw earlier down at the other end zone when you said Gary James was in the moonlight. Well, he was in the moonlight once again, and I think that what you'll see there, besides the holding against LSU, is the fact that it might not have been a bad decision not to throw to Gary James earlier, because he has had a bone in his hand broken, and he's playing kind of semi-hurt, wouldn't you say, Doug? And you watch him here, he'll almost try to catch the ball with one hand. And that's awful hard to do, even though he has a partial cast on his hand. He probably should have tried to get it up with the other one.
And another thing, as you mentioned, the first time they ran the play on the other end, he threw the ball to Eric Martin short. This time you saw him pump to Eric Martin real short, laid it up. It wouldn't make a difference.
By the offensive team, 10-yard penalty, second down.
But again, it's important to, when you have people open like that, to complete that pass, because it's just a long down that doesn't count for anything if you don't make that connection.
From the 30, second and 17.
Here comes a safety blitz.
He's not ready for it this time, and he's losing some yards back to the 33.
Jeff was ready, but he had no one in the open. He had a little quick screen out to the outside, and it didn't look too good, so he just tried to make do what he could. You'll see him come in there, watch the men stop. That means they have man coverage. Wise decision not to throw it. Now Jeff is just trying to get all he can out of the play.
Benton Reed, 83, and Howard Moss, 38, collaborate on the stop. And the ball is on the Rebel 33. Long yardage to go, and the blitz again. Wickersham throws to the end zone. That's McGee. Can't get it. Makes a dive for it. Incomplete. Coverage supplied by number 38, Howard Moss. And the Tigers do not get the points after the long run.
Once again, Ole Miss is pulling out all the stops here. That's the third safety blitz in a row in a third and long situation. Jeff reads it, has a man there for him to block. Roger McGee downfield. It was just a little bit out of his arms.
And so Clay Parker comes in to punt. It's fourth down at the Rebel 33-yard line. 20 yards to go for the first down. And the Tigers are still down by 4, 10-6, with 9:32 to go in the first half. In the end zone. Now the Rebels will take the ball over at their 20-yard line.
Kind of surprised the Tigers didn't try a field goal that time, man. It would have been a 50-yard field goal, but that's at the kind of the end of Batanzas' range, but he's capable of making that, and Matt DeFrank's also capable of making it.
I think both of them are, but I think that there you see a tendency change in confidence level in your field goal attack.
Yeah, he's also capable of missing it, so maybe that was the idea. Let's go ahead and punt it away.
And get it at least to the 20 as opposed to having the ball out on the 38 to 35-yard line.
Put it in simple language, Bert. Coach Arnsparger apparently didn't think he could make it.
That is correct.
Here's the short run as Austin hands off, and Burks and Brooks stop for the LSU Tigers. And so there's a short gain on the play up to the 24 by Robert Smith. There's the Tiger mascot. Real character, Mark Jefferson.
And John, I think we really have to make note of the fact that once again LSU got the ball deep in the Rebel territory, and did not make anything out of it.
Second down, 6 yards to go. The Rebels are at their 24. Austin, and a quick opening shot, is picking up a first down. Caston stops Robert Smith. And so here it is again. He got the crease there that time.
Well, Robert Smith's a good, strong young running back. Boy, you saw him put a lick on Caston. Caston is a strong tackler, and Smith just lowered his head and knocked him flat on his back.
And the reason that play went there, you saw the nose tackle kind of declare. He went to one side. Maybe, you know, Tommy Clapp was not necessarily used to that play, and he went to one way, and the running back went the other. Fumble!
Greg Hubrock hops on a fumble, and I think by Robert Smith. Austin to Smith, and Clapp jars the ball away, and Hubrock crawls ahead, and the Tigers have another fumble recovery, this time at the Rebel 29.
It was hard to tell whether Smith ever really had a good hold on the ball. Didn't look like he did. Didn't look like the exchange between he and Austin was very clean. But at any rate, LSU again with another golden opportunity, but they just haven't been making use of these.
The Rebels lead by 10-6. Wickersham hands off. And we have a whistle, and this play will be nullified. That usually signals illegal procedure.
Moving on the left side of the LSU offensive line prior to the snap, it looked like.
This lack of sharpness by LSU is really costing the Tigers so far.
It's cost them almost 21 points thus far. One on a pass, one not scoring when they got down there, and then one on a defensive corner relaxing on the play, and that is a lack of sharpness, and that's 21 points.
Now the encroachment by the offensive team, 5-yard penalty.
To the 30-yard line. You hear a lot of weather popping out there, and credit this tackle to strong side linebacker Jeff Harrod, number 66. Spells that name H-E-R-R-O-D. He's a freshman from Birmingham.
And this is a play, Doug, where you go up to the line of scrimmage. It's 1st and 15, and every defensive player out there is hollering, watch the screen and watch the draw. And the halfback goes, holy smoke, and here comes the strong safety once again on the blitz.
Wickersham to the air. Third down coming up.
LSU's just not making any use of that. It's tough when they blitz you, but when a blitz man comes out of the secondary, that means that one of those guys back there is going to be gone. And you've got to find the open spot. You've got to be in a play where you can make use of that availability.
Third down 11 from the Rebel 30. Wickersham is being chased. Throws it away. Fourth down coming up. And again, the Tigers run afoul of just all kinds of situations after getting the ball deep in enemy territory. Kansas will have a chance to add 3 points. In field goals, he's 12 out of 19. Missed 2 against Notre Dame early in the game last week. Bert's already commented on that. This will be a 47-yard try, the same distance of the Ole Miss kick, which was good a few moments ago. No good. And the Rebels stop the Tigers, and Matanzas misses again. 10-6 Ole Miss.
You can't miss those opportunities like that, Doug. As you said earlier, anytime you turn away the opportunity to score points, you're going to be in trouble. Just like anytime you miss an extra point, it always seems to come back and haunt you. And I know Bill Osberg is sitting there thinking the same thing. 3 scoring opportunities we've given up thus far today, and it's still 7 minutes left in the first half.
Not only that, but the Tigers are moving backwards rather than forwards at all when they get the ball in good position.
1st and 10, the Rebels now at the 30. Austin is wrapped up by Michael Michael Brooks.
But what a tremendous equalizer Michael Brooks can be. When your offense isn't moving, just get Michael back into the game, because somewhere down the line he'll make a big play. Watching Toby Caston and Michael Brooks on one side is going to be a lot of fun for a few more years.
Not only did Brooks force the play, he also made the play and had total control. Southeastern Defensive Player of the Week twice this year, as you see. Second down from the 25. 15 to go for a 4-point lead. Austin. A reception by the tight end, Mario Perry, but for short yardage. Didn't amount to anything at all.
Well, that's okay. Here, Austin is rolling, and Ole Miss is rolling every now and then to try to get him better protection. This is the same play they threw a little bit earlier, but they threw it earlier for about 15 to 18 yards. This time a very short gain, and I feel quite certain LSU is going to let them have the 2- and 3-yard pass. They've got 3rd and 11. What's important now is for LSU to hold the Rebels, to get the ball back, and to do something with it.
3rd down and 11. Holder is wide to the left and moving down the field. Pass goes the other way. Incomplete to Tim Moffitt. 4th down. Well, the LSU defensive team did its work.
You really have to say that. LSU with good pass coverage, and Austin, who has had time to throw most of the evening, really wasn't pressured there, but just didn't make a very good throw. Moffitt, again, had gotten open, but the ball just was not where he could catch it. But LSU is going to be able to get the ball back, but that offense has got to do something with it.
Bill Smith to kick to Norman Jefferson. Nice high kick, but not all that long. Fair catch signal by the upback, who's Jeffrey Dale at the LSU 33. That's a 38-yard kick. Well below the average, enjoyed by Bill Smith, who can really kick them out of sight. He had earlier this year won 65 yards in length.
Had won 92 yards in length, too, earlier this year.
That's right.
But now's the time for all good men for LSU to stand up and be counted, because they need to get a drive going here. They need to establish something on offense, because if they don't, they literally can let this game and the tempo of this game slip away from them, because they should and are a better football team.
Handoff goes to Hilliard. He got past one of the men on the line, but Mike Fitzsimmons wraps him up at about the 35, 36-yard line, 3 yards up the field. Dalton Hilliard has had the long run after receiving the little checkoff pass earlier in this quarter, but the Tigers made nothing of it. Otherwise, Hilliard has been pretty well contained. 2nd down along 7 at the LSU 36. Same play, but man, this time, a hard knock on Hilliard at the 41-yard line.
And I think they called a penalty on Lance Smith for blocking after the play downfield.
The tackle was made by Patrick Brown, a reserve linebacker.
As you watch them discussing the play on the sidelines, what is the reason for this flag?
And you know what is going to happen also, I would think, is that since the whistle had blown, the play was over, LSU is going to get penalized, but they're going to have that down cost them anyway, so it's not like they're going to get a down over.
Yeah, and you'll see the referee, Joe Hicks, put his hands behind his head, which will indicate what Doug was just talking about, a loss of a down after the penalty.
Football foul, personal foul. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, he didn't do it. He just told us about it. 3rd down from the 26-yard line. The Tigers need to go to their 43. Wickersham on 3rd and 17 to throw. Got it to Rafton at the 27. He was trying to look for Raji McGee, the deep threat of the LSU Tigers. Wickersham just couldn't get the ball to him, and Everett Flakes makes the tackle of the receiver, Rafton.
And once again, one of the safeties, this time the strong safety, came again on 3rd and long. They left the tight end to account for him and blocked him, but what that does, it takes one man out of your pass pattern and makes him a blocker.
Clay Parker is going to punt. We have 2 men up the field. one of whom is Tim Moffitt to receive for Ole Miss. And a nice kick. Very nice kick. That's Goodlow from the 25. Looking for room, won't get it. Oh, is he hit by Steve Rehage. And Rehage comes out the worst for the wear, as Goodlow took a glancing blow, but it was a hard hit for Rehage. 47 yards on the punt and a -4 return. And little Steve is really doing his best to show his strength. Timeout in the game. Score: Ole Miss 10, LSU 6.
For the next 30 seconds, Burger King will conduct a test of your appetite alert system. Right now, Burger King restaurants in your area are offering the King Combo. A juicy flame-broiled Whopper, large order of crisp golden fries, and an ice-cold Pepsi. The King Combo, all for a special price. To complete this test, please report to Burger King.
It's Wilson's 36th anniversary, and we're celebrating with spectacular savings throughout the store. Like this fine selection of GE products. The Bruce Daughter automatic drip coffee maker is just $29.97 after rebate. The Space Maker electric knife, sale price $21.97. This Space Maker can opener, sale price $17.97. And the Space Maker 10-cup drip coffee maker, sale price $39.97. So hurry to Wilson's 36th and make it a happy anniversary for you.
One of the LSU Tigers. And Rehage is on his feet. He's a tough little fellow. He's kind of hobbling off. There's Batanzas, who's reflecting on a couple of things, I'm sure. The Tigers are letting some opportunities slip by, and that's always a dangerous thing to happen against a team like Ole Miss, or any other team in the SEC for that matter. 10-6, the Rebels lead by 4. And the Rebels have first down at their 23. Austin with the ball. Screen pass. Wansley with it. Out of bounds. He's at the 29-yard line. He got 6 yards on the play. Wansley, number 32. Nathan Wansley is from Moss Point, Mississippi. Here's
this is just a screen play. Ken Austin backing off. Wansley getting the ball. And there you'll see Michael Brooks trying to come into the play, and he and Genovese for Ole Miss are having a battle out there. They're pointing their fingers at each other after every play, so you can look forward to having a really exciting night down there.
Second down, Austin traveling right and throwing on the run. Dropped by Perry. Incomplete. Third down coming up.
But he was there. And again, that was that little rollout that they have run. This is the third time at least they've run that pass. They've completed it twice previously, once for long gain, once for short gain. That time it should have been completed for a first down. Perry just dropped it. But LSU, the point is LSU has not yet covered Perry sufficiently to keep him from catching the football on that play.
By the way, Ole Miss has only 2 games left this year after this one. The season has moved along. Third down from the 29. 4 yards to go for a first down, and Austin fates back to throw again. Out of the pocket, looking for somebody, throws it way down the field. It's overthrown to Harbor. Harbor may have stopped on the pattern, and of course that's a crucial thing to do. You're not helping the passer at all, but he was not in position to get open to catch the ball.
He wasn't. He had already gone through with his salmon. He had an out route where he goes down and breaks out. It was an all-out blitz from the linebackers for LSU here, which means he was one-on-one, and Kevin Guidry just stayed on him like a blanket. He kept him all the way covered, and finally Austin said, pointed his finger downfield, go somewhere, try that, and he just threw the ball away.
Jefferson is down the field, and Bill Smith, the long punter for Ole Miss, is going to get a big rush here. Gets the kick away. Nice kick. Jefferson from the 27. Look out. 32 or 3-yard line. 45 yards on the kick, and he returns about 7. Now the Tigers really need to get something cracking here from their 33-yard line.
Just 3 minutes left in the half, too, and if they're going to get it going, they're going to have to get it going pretty quick.
3:36 to go in the half. The Tigers have been their own worst enemy in this game. Quicker chance to throw. Behind the line by Freddie Nunn. Rebel covered. And so Wickersham's slight delay in getting the pass away gave plenty of time for Freddie Nunn to come in and make the sack.
Well, that was a blitz by Freddie Joe Nunn there. It wasn't anything to do with Jeff Wickersham hardly, because he felt him coming out of the corner of his eye, and that's just almost kamikaze position if you put yourself in that position to throw the ball with him staring at you like that. Not only do you not have an opportunity to get the ball to the man, but you don't have an opportunity to save yourself.
From the 25, there's a little flare back the other way to Rafton. Up at the 29. That's only 4 yards on it. Stopped by Huddleston. Linebacker, number 44.
You've got to be very impressed with the Ole Miss team defensive speed and quickness on that play. Rafton had the ball in a good enough position to make a pretty decent gain out of that thing. And he does not have blazing speed, but he's got pretty decent speed. And Ole Miss did a great job of getting over there and covering it with their entire linebacking group.
3rd and 14. The Tigers are at their 29 and down by 4 points, and time just slipping away. Blitzing again. Wickersham to throw. Down the field to Fontenot. Good effort, but no catch. He almost had it. Wickersham was being blitzed by Barry Wilburn, number 27. And the Tigers don't do it again, and will have to punt. Point of the down, the LSU 29-yard line. -4 on that possession, and Clay Parker's in the punt. Down the field, Goodlow and Moffitt standing at the Rebel 25-yard line, giving healthy respect to the right leg of Clay Parker. My, I wish he'd put his shoe on. He's going to boot it just the same. Goes badly off the arch of his foot and takes a reverse bounce and is touched back around the 41-yard line. Not a great one, 30 yards.
Not even a good one.
The Rebels have 1st down and 10 to go at their 41-yard line. Great field position. And with 1:55 to go in the half, the Rebels now can sort of pump things up.
You really think that punt would have gone further if he had a shoe on?
I don't think there's any question.
Whatever the case is, Ole Miss is in very good field position to go ahead and try to move the ball down there and get 6 points.
The Rebels lead by 4. Austin is back to throw, has a man up the middle, and that's Pickles. Stopped by Dubrock at the 46. 2nd down, 5.
And they're not waiting on anything. They're in a 2-minute hurry-up situation. No huddle up to the line of scrimmage, waiting for the ball to get in play. And the snap is off.
Austin again. This year and 50 tackles.
Had he caught that one, it could have been 6 points for LSU.
But that's the kind of play that you've got to make. When you're down in a game like this and you get that opportunity, you just can't let it slip by. And boy, he let it slip by because he had clear sailing with the speed to take it into the end zone.
After he intercepts, as he's done on 2 occasions, as I mentioned, he lumbers heavily down the field like one of those big lumber trains traveling fast through Simsboro, Louisiana. 3rd down and 5 at the 46. And Austin to throw again. Complete. And Pickles has it, but out of bounds, shy of a 1st down.
Michael Brooks was almost in position for another interception. And this time, I bet he wouldn't have missed it. He probably would have gone all the way. It was a good play by Ken Austin. He threw it right in the right place. Tough play. Got to throw it all the way to the sidelines. And boom.
You saw good action there as Tommy Clapp was trying to get past the offensive line for Ole Miss and was pretty well contained. But now the Tigers have stopped the Ole Miss Rebels. Bill Smith comes in. The point of the down is at the Rebel 48-yard line, and Jefferson is standing back at the Tiger 10. The clock shows 1:24 to go in the 1st half. No big rush. A very nice kick. Nose turns over, and there it goes. Vaughn Goslin, 52 yards down the field.
An awful pretty punt, but I'm sure Billy Brewer would have loved to have that thing stopped somewhere inside the 20-yard line. It helps a punter's average, but it sure hurts your defensive team because it enables the offense to come out to the 20, have an opportunity with not good field position, but just not being backed up and trying to move the ball down for a score.
But you know, Ole Miss is so fired up defensively, and they've played so well this ball game, except for the first series, that I don't think they really mind where LSU has the ball.
You know, Joe Hicks and Harold Johnson almost spotted the ball at the 19. I would love to have seen that. Andrews, tackled by Huddleston, but he picks up a first down. 1:07 to go in the first half.
And Bert, there you go. That's the guy they've been keeping in the block, and they need to get him downfield in the middle of the field where if he's not going to be covered, they can go ahead and get rid of the ball to him because he is wide open there.
Now the Tigers can hurry up. Hilliard this time thrown back by Everett Flakes. At the 39. Clock continues to move. No, it stopped at 56 seconds.
Now the clock stopping, that's a gift because they got him inside.
They did that. And Wickersham back, goes, and that's caught by James. Now the clock continues to travel along. 45 seconds to go in the half. Timeout LSU. Timeout of the game. 43 seconds to go in the half, and the score is Rebels 10, Tigers 6.
Our children are our future in the Felicianas. Hal Ware is a parent. He knows the district attorney can have a positive impact on our children's future. He'll work in the classroom to help them understand criminal justice. He'll institute creative programs to help them learn to be contributing members of our community. Hal Ware knows our children deserve the best we can give them to help them become the best they can be. Tuesday, November 6th, elect Hal Ware, the Feliciana's best choice for district attorney.
She had been arrested for the first time and was facing time in jail.
If it had not been for pretrial intervention, I don't know where I'd be today. And it's all thanks to Mr. O.C. Brown. He listens to what we need and what we want, and he tries to give it to us. He cares about the younger people as well as the older people, and that's what counts. I was given a second chance.
The record proves O.C. Brown has been a great district attorney.
Back to play, and Wickersham watches the blitz come and wrap him up at the 30-yard line. They brought 4 men that time, 2 of whom were Marcus Green, 76, and Mike Simmons, 74. Tigers now face 4th down. Ole Miss wants timeout. All right, Wickersham is 12 out of 19. 3 sacks have been recorded by the Rebels. The Tigers have lost a total of 20 yards.
And you've got to say, except for the very beginning of this ball game when Ole Miss looked like they were trying to give it away, LSU really has been beaten at the line of scrimmage. Here you see another example. Jeff Wickersham's back there. He does not have an opportunity even to look downfield. Ole Miss's line of scrimmage is just dominating, both on offense and defense. And proof of that fact is that Ole Miss now has called a timeout with 27 seconds left. They want to get the ball back and perhaps try a field goal. Certainly they'd love to run this punt back all the way.
They have 10 men on the line of scrimmage.
They may be trying to step on Clay Parker's foot and injure him
prior to him kicking the ball. As you watch Billy Brewer pace the sideline.
10 men on the line. Could be an attempted block here. Here they come. Parker gets it away and gets a nice kick away to Tim Moffitt. Fair catch signal by him. We have 19 seconds to go in the half. That was a 44-yarder by Clay Parker and under some heat.
Clay Parker did an awful fine job getting rid of the ball there. You see a step and a half and it's gone. Because had he not, that ball could have very well been blocked because they were in there fairly quick, wouldn't you say, Don?
Sure were. They got good penetration there, and Clay did a fine job getting it off.
Boston is going to be content with a 4-point lead.
And I would be too if I were Ole Miss.
Rebels are going to the dressing room with intense happiness and fanfare, and the Tigers are going to the dressing room at the north end of the stadium under some question, as the Tigers have been whipped at the line of scrimmage, and the Rebels have tried to give a lot of the game to the Tigers early in the contest, but LSU just didn't seem to want to take advantage of any scoring opportunity. As a result, the Rebels lead by 4.
We certainly do, and we've had probably 3 touchdowns that we gave away for the first half. And anytime you give up 21 points almost, it's hard to recapture.
Well, the score is the Rebels 10 and the Tigers 6, and it's been a surprise so far, but 30 minutes of big action remain, and we'll be back with that in about 20 minutes. And in the meantime, we have a sparkling halftime show for you, and we'll be back with that in just a moment or two.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday Sports Final. And we're at halftime now of the Tigers-Ole Miss Rebels game. And you can already tell that it's beginning to take shape as one of the great college football games in the annals of the Southeastern Conference and the history of these two fine institutions, LSU and the University of Mississippi. Well, this is the Sunday Sports Final segment of our program where we bring you up to date on all in the world of sports, everything that transpired during the week. And locally, it was a big, big week for both college football fans, National Football League fans, and even at the high school level. By the way, high school playoffs begin next week, and Steve Schneider will be right on top of that situation, and we'll be updating you that throughout the week. So just stay with us for all of that beginning tomorrow here on the Newsline 9 segment at 6 o'clock. Well, the National Football League has reached Week 10, and as usual, the New Orleans Saints have quietly asserted themselves as the doormats of their particular division. Let's show you now some of the action, and today Green Bay did it to the Saints, but things started well for New Orleans. It was Wayne Wilson with a big run to set things up for the Saints, and again, that power eye look, the three-back offense was in effect. It all looked well when here George Rogers carries off tackle for a few yards, and really this power eye setup was something we were seeing a great deal of. Now remember, this is the same setup that Kenny Stabler has been so critical of during the course of the past week. This touchdown by Wayne Wilson gives the Saints a short-lived lead. But then Green Bay comes right back. Al Greco with the field goal here to make it a 7-3 ball game. This was the first of 3 for him. And then Lynn Dickey goes to work, finding Paul Kaufman, a favorite receiver of his, for a touchdown. That makes it 10-7 Green Bay. Then a controversial play here. Richard Todd up top. Jeff Groth, is it? Is it not? They say no, it isn't. He did not catch it. Now you see Tyrone Young is upset. Here's the replay. You get a closer look. Does Groth have total possession? Now, on the replay, it appears he did. But the call was an incompletion. They settled for a field goal for Morton Anderson, tying the game at 10. Then another touchdown pass again to Kaufman. Green Bay is set up. Then the Saints on a 4th down play at the Packer 28 come up empty-handed, don't go for the field goal as Campbell is stopped. Del Greco then makes it a 20-10 game with this field goal. Morton Anderson comes back to make it 20-13, then Del Greco again adds another field goal to make it 23-13. Let's go to the scoreboard now and show you Green Bay over the Saints 23-13. Cleveland upended Buffalo 13-10. Houston buried by Pittsburgh 35-7. Chicago upset the Raiders 17-6 today. The Giants over Dallas 19-7. And Philadelphia and Detroit played to a tie in overtime today. The first time that's happened in the league this season. Meanwhile, San Diego beat Indianapolis 38-10. Minnesota with a last-second field goal by Jan Stenerud beat Tampa Bay 27-24. It was Cincinnati being defeated by San Francisco. 49ers just rolling right now. 23-17 the final. Seattle beat Kansas City by a score of 45-0. It was the Rams over St. Louis 16-13, and Miami defeated New York. They had to come up from behind to do it. They're still unbeaten. Final 31-17 today. Well, New England and Denver had a Donnybrook, and the Broncos won it by 7, and Atlanta and Washington are coming up on Monday night. Well, now, the Saints have found just a horde of ways to lose football games recently. They did so again today at the Dome. The 23-13 setback makes it a must now that Coach Bum Phillips' bunch win their remaining 6 games to have a real shot at the playoffs. Newsline's Jay Townsend was there and files the report.
Well, Tim, they say that football is a game of inches. That certainly proved to be the case in the New Orleans Saints' loss to the Green Bay Packers at the Dome this afternoon. The inches that cost the Saints dearly was this 4th and inches call at the Green Bay 27 midway through the 3rd quarter with the Pack up 17-10. Instead of quarterback Richard Tide carrying on a sneak, which had worked earlier, the play came from the bench for Earl Campbell to slant off right tackle. The hole was closed, and as Earl slipped to the outside, he was stopped cold. So was New Orleans. I asked Coach Bum Phillips about the call.
Ran a sneak already, and we tried that one. We thought that thing would go, and obviously it didn't. We felt like we had it blocked. We felt like we were going to make the 6 inches, and didn't. Poor coaching, the only thing I'd say. I'm serious. You know, you got to be able to make those. And the number one guy to blame, that's me.
Early in the 3rd period, 2 controversial calls on Lynn Dickey incomplete passes to John Jefferson and James Lofton inside the Saints 20 resulted in holding and pass interference penalties against Saints quarterback Dave Waymer. That allowed Dickey to connect on a 3rd and 5 TD pass over the middle to Paul Kaufman and gave Green Bay a 17-10 lead. The Saints drove 87 yards in the 1st quarter for their only touchdown on a 1-yard run by Wayne Wilson, who set up that score with a 36-yard gallop.
We had a chance to come back and win the game. It's just that we had, some mental breakdowns and, and things like that. And that's the difference between the championship teams and, the mediocre teams. You got to try to overcome those mental breakdowns, in which we didn't do.
Next week, the Saints hit the road again, this time against their old nemesis, the Atlanta Falcons. Jay Townsend, photographer Randy Leduc for Newsline Sports at the Superdome in New Orleans.
All right, Jay, it's really getting old hat with the Saints. They're really disappointing this season. The Southern Jaguars are smiling tonight as they ended their slump against lowly North Carolina A&T last night. Let's show you now how that one happened. A big win for the Jaguars. We're going to pick it up now with Troy Ankar coming up with an interception here. You'll watch Troy decked out in his blue, making a beautiful play here, and that will put the Jaguars in great shape. Herman Coleman throws 5 yards to James Watts here. Touchdown. It's 7-0 Jaguars. Then Roger Serrano boots it to a 21-yard field goal to make it 10-0. That was the count at halftime. And then in the 3rd quarter, Irvin Bennett at the helm. 1-yard touchdown run by Bennett to make it a 17-0 game. The roll had begun. Troy Milburn then takes this kickoff, and it turns out to be a long onside kick. It has kind of a bizarre play, one that you'll usually see where Southern's concerned. They had a bizarre onside kick last week, only it went the opposite way, and they wound up on the short end. Serrano's field goal then made it 20-0. Then later, Michael Adams scampers for this touchdown run to make it 34-zip. And then Ronald Scott gets into the act with its touchdown run, and it's a 41-0 ball game. And again, the Jags host Florida A&M before closing out with Grambling on Saturday. Back on Friday night, a crowd of staggering proportions for practice, essentially, roared as Dale Brown's basketball team showed its wares for the first time this year. There's no doubt the sky's the limit for this club as the freshmen push the veterans to their very limit. A crowd of better than 7,000 were on hand at the Assembly Center to take a good long look at what is going to be one of the most explosive teams in the country this year, the 1984-85 LSU Tiger basketball team. Well, these are nice numbers, Nikita. 26 points, 10 rebounds. You got off to a great start tonight, and if there's one thing that I noticed about most of the other guys is that they were a little bit tentative early. They were a little over anxious maybe, but you weren't. I mean, you went out and got to the job real quickly tonight.
Yes, I just tried to come out and just play hard. That's my game, hustling and getting offensive rebounds and getting defensive rebounds. So I just tried to come out and play hard. I don't think the other players were maybe tense or nothing like that. I guess I just came out, to a good start.
The whole look is so far different from a year ago and even 2 years ago that I wonder what you, as the veteran, as the old warhorse, thinks about this team versus and what it means to you, because your role has definitely got to change because of the talent on that floor right now. How do you see your role with this club?
Well, I see my role as a leader, somebody that has to pick up the young players when they get frustrated or have a bad practice. So I don't want to say a father figure because I am the old war horse, but I just have to keep everybody straight, Jerry, I, and Derek. So the young players are coming through great for us. The sophomores are great leaders too. So it's a whole team effort, and everybody's pulling together great.
John, how did it feel, first of all, playing before that crowd? Because they loved you from the start, and I sense that you were really growing to love them as the game wore on.
Well, it felt pretty good for me to come in and play a big game like this with a big crowd like this. You know, I'm not used to a big crowd like that. Yeah. But it took some time to adjust, so I adjusted about 5 minutes into the game.
As a group of freshmen, I've been to some practices, and I've never seen the freshmen go against the veterans like tonight. And I thought you guys played pretty well as a unit for a group of guys who have only been playing together for about 3 weeks and really haven't really been playing together for 3 weeks. You've been paired off into other 5s-on-5s in scrimmages, but not really veterans versus freshmen. You guys played well as a unit tonight, I thought.
Yeah, I think we played pretty good together, but I think we lost the game because we weren't in shape. I think that's the main factor.
Next up, the Republic of China. That comes on Thursday night. And if what we saw tonight is an example of what we're going to get all year, look out. The Tigers are maybe on their way to the top again. I tell you, that reporter, he's got real potential. That was a fun game and one that we certainly enjoyed seeing. And we may have seen the #1 and 2 teams in the Southeastern Conference when the freshmen played the veterans back on Friday night. It's going to be a great basketball season. Well, we're going to take you now back for the second half action of the LSU Ole Miss game. And if you thought the first 30 minutes were pretty good, wait till you see the second 30. It's outstanding, and you're really going to love it. And so we'll take you now back to Burt Jones, Doug Morrow, and John Ferguson. For Steve Schneider and Jay Townsend, Tim Brando speaking for the entire Newsline 9 sports team. We'll see you back again at halftime of next week's game between the Tigers and Alabama here on Sunday Sports Final. Now let's go back to Tiger Stadium and for more of that action.
By the Rebels. And we start the second half. Kickoff by Smith to Fontenot. There's no run out. Temperature about 55 degrees. Light wind from the south. So weather conditions are just about ideal for this game. And the Tigers are hoping to find the formula here to start the second half, to get their activity moving in a positive direction.
I bet Coach Orangebarger would like one of the fans to come down right now and tell him what he needs to do to get the Tigers back in this game.
It's pretty hard to have only 1 turnover and the other team to have 3 and you still be behind. Here is a run up the middle by Hilliard and a 2-yard gain.
And the reason he keeps coming back to that, John, is the fact that he feels like, as a coach, he is a stronger, and we are a stronger football team than Ole Miss. He comes back to the basics of your running game, your straight dives, where you get all your offensive linemen driving off the ball and trying to maintain that good contact and dominate the line of scrimmage and getting them back to playing basic football and get off the fringes.
2 tight ends. Curtis, number 81, is in the game. And a pass play. Out to the left. It's complete. First down. After Williamson made the tackle in the previous down, Earl Curtis catches a pass for the Tigers and picks up a first down. And the Rebels have 2 or 3 men stopping on this play.
And once again, the confidence in Jeff's arm to get this ball out in the flat, wide. Earl Curtis makes a good play there, avoiding the tackler, gets upfield, and you can watch the intensity on the field. Kurt Gore being 15 yards down the field, making a block after the play has been called.
Hilliard, first down again. The Tigers are rolling to the LSU 46-yard line. Wilburn makes this stop. And a quick opening shot there for Hilliard.
And LSU, with that adjustment at halftime, they've come out with 2 tight ends now, and they're lining up both those tight ends, 2 flankers, and it presents a balanced formation that Ole Miss can't overload their defensive backfield against.
And it gives LSU an extra man to block. Here's Hilliard slipping to the outside. Good move. And he's down at the 50-yard line. Ball popped away from him, but after the fact, Lee Davis makes the stop. Number 2 LSU career rusher behind Charlie Alexander, Dalton Hilliard. And Hilliard will break that record, of course, no doubt. because he's only a junior. Second down at the 50-yard line, 6 to go. James is in the game, and he's the lone remaining setback, and the handoff goes to him. Breaks to the outside. He's good at this. He has a first down. He's written down at about the 38 by Stephen Cunningham. There's a 12-yard gallop to the left as he improvised, and you talk about a man who can get to the sideline in a hurry and loves to do that. It's number 33, Gary James.
LSU's come out obviously a little better prepared to play tough in the line of scrimmage than they ended up the first half. But, John, it's very important from their standpoint that they convert this drive into some points, that they get up closer to Ole Miss.
First down, incomplete, and Wickersham threw it right to the man back there. And a cornerback back there who really had the ball, that was Jonathan Shelley, number 39. The ball was right in his hands.
Jeff is just taking inside, throws a little bit early, or Eric Martin was a little bit late coming in on his break. It's a hard play to read to find fault or who is at fault, but whatever the case may be, the cornerback had an opportunity to run the other way for 6 points.
That's correct. So, second down and 10 at the 38 in Ole Miss territory. The Tigers have the ball down by 4. Wickersham throws, and that's Andrews who can't get it. Coverage by Cunningham, number 43. That's 42. That's going to be Flakes.
And, John, that time Jeff was looking to this side all the way, but if you look at Earl Curtis on the back side, on the left side, he blocked, then he released in the flat, and right now he is wide open. No one is on him. Mitch Andrews was the guy that Wickersham wanted to go to, and he just didn't take an opportunity to look to the backside, but you might see the Tigers coming back to that sometime later this half.
Third and 10, Wickersham to throw again. Big play, long pass down there, Lee, touchdown! McGee, who's been open all night, finally gets the ball, and it is a touchdown for the Tigers, and now the purple and gold will go ahead by 12 to 10.
On this play, Ole Miss all night has been changing up their secondary coverages, sometimes doubling Martin, sometimes McGee, and on this one they just keep moving around with the blitzes, and someone just forgets the coverage, and this time Jeff doesn't miss it.
He didn't have the safety came over. In fact, he bumped into McGee in a rush to get to the outside. He just didn't realize who he was supposed to cover.
But Tondas will try the point after the south end. Kick is no good. Again, he's missed 2 in the game, and also a field goal. 12:25 to go in the third quarter. The score is LSU 12, Ole Miss 10.
So you don't think it's a personality contest?
The type of job he does is what people should be looking at as opposed to his personality.
His record speaks for itself. I think, too, it's all right if you don't personally care for a candidate, because that's not really what counts. What counts is the job that he does for you.
When you study the record of O.C. Brown, you'll see that he's by far the best qualified man to do the job and serve this parish.
O.C. Brown has been a great district attorney.
Traditionally, at this time of year, most automobile dealers are trying to sell the remaining 84 models. They'll even hold out on their 85s, forcing you into buying the leftover 84s. What can you expect from Miller-Terrell Buick? Just the largest selection of new 85 Buicks ever. Over 400. That can't be matched by any other dealer in this area, Buick or otherwise. With this many 85s to choose from, you really will get a year-end deal now, today, only at Miller-Terrell.
I'm David Orrick, your RCA man, and I'm headed for Indiana Jones country with my new RCA Small Wonder TV camera. Weighs just 25 ounces, slips over your wrist, has a built-in zoom for close-up of tigers and a built-in mic for roaring lions. And I don't wait for film processing. What I shoot today, I play tonight on my own TV. See RCA's Small Wonder today. Buy yourself a piece of the future.
Get $100 back when you buy RCA Small Wonder at Diversified Video.
The Tigers take the lead 12 to 10. A 38-yard pass play, Wickersham to McGee. And Frank kicks off short to the 16. And a most yardage returned by Andre Rogers. And the Tigers, while taking the lead by a score of 12 to 10 and looking sharp coming out in the third quarter.
And here you see Juan Batanzas, and he's the fellow we've talked about a little bit. Boy, is he in a slump. He misses this again to the left. Early in the season, he missed to the right, and you can see the reaction. And, boy, that's tough. He sure is missing, and it's really affecting him.
From the 17. I was going to say, Doug, as you started that commentary about Batanzas, that even though the Tigers have the lead, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
It sure is, and you really feel badly for him because he is a fine kicker, but he's not a fine kicker right now, and it really is affecting him, and you hate to see a young man let that get to him so much. You just got to look forward, forget about the past.
That's right, and he's apt to be the field goal kicker of record for all time for LSU. Here is Austin running the option, ran into his own man at the 35-yard line. 13 yards up the field and a first down for Ole Miss. The Tigers were covering other people, and Austin still had the ball.
That's the problem with the option. Quite often you'll have the people, Greg Dubrock goes down for the dive when possibly it was his assignment to go for the quarterback because there was no one there to cover Ken Austin.
Ran up the back of James Harbor, number 25. Ken Austin, in this game, had completed 133 passes out of 228 thrown. And we'll try another one. First down. Oh, he threw it away. He was looking for Ambrose, J.R. Ambrose, who caught the touchdown longy earlier for Ole Miss.
Out of Neville High School from Monroe, Louisiana.
So I'll tell you, J.R. got by Norman Jefferson in the first half for the touchdown, and I think Norman just made up his mind J.R.'s not going to get by him. He pushed him out of bounds. You're going to see him at the last second stumbling there on the right side, but he was well out of bounds near the LSU bench before having to come back into the playing field.
Second and 10, the Rebels at their 35 have Austin on the option. Wansley with the ball, tackled by Hobley.
What a good tackle it was. He was the last man, as you'll often see the weak safety when he comes up to make a tackle on the outside.
That was a 17-yard scamper to the right side, and Hobley made the good tackle, but the Rebels moved relentlessly down the field and have first down at the LSU 49-yard line.
Barnesville gets to the outside pretty quick.
Gained 23 yards so far, 17 that time. John Hazard, who stayed at home and had help from Tommy Clapp right in the middle.
John, LSU pretty effectively has stopped this play, and that is the first handoff off of the option series. But Ole Miss has used a lot of different blocking schemes. They pull a front side guard one time. They'll take that halfback that you saw take the handoff just then, and they'll lead him around on the option sometimes rather than fake the ball to him. And LSU's having a difficult time convincing themselves they can stop all those teams.
There's a reverse, and that's going to be a tough play for the Ole Miss Rebels as Andre Rogers, a regular last year, scampers wide to the right side on a 2nd and 8 play and ends up 3rd and 8. The Tigers have Jeffrey Dale and Jefferson and others over there. Well, he gets about a yard, maybe.
For all practical purposes, what you're seeing here is a wishbone football team. They're not lining up that way, but they're using the same plays that you'd see run out of the wishbone, except they only have 2 set back. That was a reverse, which is a very common play out of that triple option series, and LSU just not been able to stop it so far.
3rd and 7 at the LSU 46. Austin to throw. Long. Got the ball? Yes, he has. Tackled by Jefferson. Moffitt sticks his sticky fingers in the air and pulls down a 14-yarder, and it's first down for Ole Miss.
And Moffitt is a fine receiver. You'll see him get downfield. Norman Jefferson read the play. He was just late making his break to come up to the out. He was in position to make the play on this, but he was just a little bit behind the ball.
First down the Rebels at the LSU 32. Rebels are down by 2 right now. And here's that option. And a run over by Dale and by Brooks. Wow, what a 1-2 punch.
1-2 punch, and that's the way to end the option play right there. If you put one man on the quarterback when he's running out there in the open, you can turn the lights out on the option.
That's right. That's what you talked about in the first half. You've got to make that quarterback realize that if he's going to run the option, he's going to have to pay the penalty for it. And there are a lot of quarterbacks, you know, I don't think like to play option football because of that.
I was one of them.
I was just going to say.
There is a future out there for a few quarterbacks, but not many that run the option.
Austin the throw. Chased out of the pocket by Wilson. And Osborne, and he runs across the field and gets nothing. Chapman and Burks and Dubrock and Dale. LSU had a good chase there.
And Ken Austin shows why he runs the option so well. He's got good speed, he's got good agility, and he's smart. You saw him run out of bounds?
Ambrose was streaking down the field along the far sideline, but just was not in the clear. He's pretty well covered there. Moffitt brings the play in from the bench.
And his 3rd down and 11 critical play. LSU needs to stop him here so they can maintain a lead.
The ball is at the LSU 33. Tigers have a 12-10 lead. Austin. One play is bumped off the field by Jefferson after completing the pass at the 28. Not a first down, it's 4th down, and that will bring up Brett Brewer to try a field goal.
And Norman Jefferson on this play does an extremely good job of showing you how to tackle, or at least hit. He didn't wrap his arms around him, but he did deliver a fine blow and knocked him right out of bounds there and did not allow the first down to happen.
Now this is going to be Howard with Brewer holding. A 45-yarder is on its way. He missed it. A good distance for Howard, but he didn't get all of his leg into that one, and so it can happen on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And the Tigers hold the Rebels after a good Rebel drive, and it's first down, the Tigers going the other way.
And you can bet that Juan Batanzas breathed a sigh of relief when that field goal missed. His 2 extra points, if that field goal had been good, would be the reason that Ole Miss would have been in the lead. So I guess he feels that it's all starting to equal out, but certainly he needs to get back on track and make a few kicks.
Rafton is moving around back there, and here's Hilliard looking for that crease again. Gets a couple of yards from the 28 to the 30. Benton Reed makes the tackle.
Benton Reed's a young fellow who was a great tight end and a tremendous prospect in high school at Woodlawn High School here in Baton Rouge. He was sought after by Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, and decided to go up to Ole Miss to be a tight end. And I talked to Ben when he was on high school. He was a defensive tackle. Pretty good, but he doesn't get to catch too many passes there.
2nd and 8 at the 30. Wickersham. Intercepted? No, he dropped it. Pass went through the hands of Eric Martin. Almost intercepted by Stephen Cunningham.
77,619 people in this stadium today, John.
Another big night for LSU football. The Tigers have been in the top 10 in total attendance figures way back in the 50s. Every year, number 6 in the country last year.
Weak safety blitz.
Wickersham looking for Fontenot. No, he checks off and throws a pass to the left that's almost intercepted by number 42, Everett Flakes, reserve strong safety. 4th down coming up.
And they have such a strong tendency, they being Ole Miss, of having a weak safety or a strong safety blitz on 3rd and long, that I believe I would just maintain maximum protection, send my 2 outside receivers down there and run something man-on-man on those cornerbacks, which they did on that one occasion, but they just didn't get open.
Parker to punt. High snap, but he gets it away. Good kick. He's having a good night. Here's Goodlow. Out of bounds at the 47 on the other end of the field. That's a 42-yarder.
And Chris Cruz down there to make sure that he didn't bring it back at all. Chris has been a very valuable member of the special teams. I don't know why why guys like to play on special teams. I heard you were one of those guys that always begged to go down on the kickoff.
I always wanted to center and go down on punch. I felt like I probably could have done that pretty well. What do you think, Dad?
Center or go down on punch?
Neither one.
From the 27, Austin has handed the ball off, and we have a flag thrown out there by somebody, I think by Harold Johnson, the umpire, as Burks wraps up the ball carrier, Robert Smith, number 34. Legal use of hands on the offense by Ole Miss. That'll be 5 if the Tigers take it. Hobley says we will, and Mr. Hicks gets ready to step off 5. He stepped off 2 or 3 6-yarders tonight, and let's see what he does with this one.
Illegal use of the hands, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Thank you, Joe.
Must have heard you, John.
From the 23. Joe Hicks is one of the fine college football officials in the country, of course, and is just an excellent gentleman. First down from the 23. And now, 15 to go, and Austin will take to the air. Well, this is passing more in this game. Complete. Moffitt is a first-rate receiver.
He is that, but had he known Norman Jefferson had slipped down on that play, he might have, instead of running out of bounds, turned around and gone downfield. Ken Austin dropping back, having a good night, both with the option and with the pass. Looks out there. You see Norman Jefferson getting up, but he had slipped down, and I think if Moffitt had known that, he probably would have tried to advance the ball and get a few more yards.
We're saying that he got 15 yards, Bert. Will the measurement will take place, and let's see how accurate we are. First down. First and 15, and the Rebels take to the air and pick up the necessary yardage.
That's a good basic pattern that they've been pretty successful on. One of the reasons is because Austin is throwing the ball pretty well tonight. 11 of 18. And Tim Moffitt is a guy who hangs on to the ball when it gets near him. He really catches the ball well and leaps very high.
Here's Austin to throw again. Up the middle, and that's Joe Mickles down at the 45-yard line by Sean Burks.
He's a freshman, 200 pounds from Birmingham, Alabama. You wonder how he got away from Auburn and Alabama, but he certainly is going to be an asset to this Ole Miss team in the future. Hard runner, good receiver, fights for the extra yard.
Second down 3. The Tigers lead 12-10 in the third. Option play. That improvisation did not work. Robert Smith and D-Block and Chapman stop his forward progress with a yard up the field at the third down. 2.
Robert Smith, John, is another one of the freshman running backs from West Point, Mississippi. And he's had some excellent games earlier this year. Most of these young freshman running backs for Ole Miss are very strong, durable runners, and they fight for that extra yardage. And once they get a little bit of experience, they're going to really be tough to stop.
Here goes Austin, pitching out, and it's Nichols. Dale has him, and Guidry. But he pulls ahead and maybe gets the first down.
Coming down the line is just a fine second effort here. Mickles gets the ball and is tackled almost behind the line of scrimmage here. Jeffrey Dale has a lasso around him. Comes on up. Guidry is unable to hold him. Fine second effort, and I think he got the first down, and he does.
And you see one of the things making that play effective. They'll take that front side guard, that time number 62, Tony Rayburn, and use him just like a lead halfback in the wishbone triple option.
From the 48, first down. That's a completed forward pass to James Harbor, but he loses his footing Gets what appears to be about 7.5 yards. That's James Harbour, and he's one of two seniors playing the flanker position. The other is 87, Jamie Holder. Jeffrey Dale was out for a play, and Walden Cager came on, but Dale took a breather just for about 20 seconds. He's back in there. There's an interesting shot. Second down, about 2.5 to go. Nichols to the right. Hazard got in, and the play was turned in by Jeffrey Dale from Winfield, and Hazard makes the stop just as he was supposed to do. The ball is back at the LSU 46-yard line, and from there it's third down and about 4.
And you know, this is kind of an unusual thing because this is just a pitch play, a sweep, rather than the option play that they've been running, and they've been very successful with the option. This is not obviously one of the plays that they're going to be successful with. LSU does not have to get stretched out trying to cover any extra back.
Third down, about 4, and Austin will take to the air, coming this side. Open field, so he's going to run. He'll pick up the first down. Out of bounds at about the 40. Chased away by Jeffrey Dale. They had 3 receivers downfield, but Austin, who's pretty agile, picks up the first down to the LSU 40-yard line.
And pretty savvy here. This is a play designed to look like a drop-back pass, but then the guards pull out to one side, kind of delayed, and give Ken Austin an opportunity to both run or pass away from the middle of the field, which, because he doesn't have the greatest arm in the world, puts him in a better position to throw the ball downfield.
Third into this game, Austin has carried the ball on rushing plays 76 times. He has 22 yards so far tonight. First down, Perry, tackled by Guidry.
And John, I tell you, this Ole Miss team this evening is reminiscent of the Ole Miss teams back in the glory days of the Rebels. They used to use the sprint-out pass, the roll-out pass, option plays, and that's just what Ole Miss has done tonight to hurt LSU. They're using their running quarterback, and they're getting their guards and their lead halfbacks out in front and really putting the pressure on the perimeter of the defense, on the corners, and on the linebackers who are coming over the field from the inside. And LSU has not yet been up to the task.
And even using the near triple option offense, Ole Miss has still been throwing an average of 30 times a game. Here's Austin making his cut, and from the 36 gets to the 33 or 4. Stopped by Sean Burks.
I think a lot of that has to do not necessarily with the offense, but when you're losing the games that they've lost, typically you're playing catch-up ball that makes it always seem to throw a little bit more.
Harbour out, Holder in, flanker with a play, and here's a third down from the 34 in Tiger territory, and a short 5 yards to go for the first down. Ole Miss 5 out of 12 in possession down tactics in the game. Austin to the air. He got the ball for a first down. That's Wansley at the LSU 28-yard line. Chapman and Jefferson were right there. But the ball was threaded between their hands.
And by no stretch of the imagination is Ole Miss giving up. Ken Austin is just back, sets up straight, looks for his position. Receiver, Wansley in the flat, and gets it there. Chapman is just a little bit late to the ball.
Well, gentlemen, we have a 12-10 game, LSU, and this field goal by Batanzas and also his 2 missed extra points are looming very large right now. That's Robert Smith with Burks hanging on, picking up plenty of yards, about 11 yards for another first down at the LSU 17.
And here's a young freshman running back. Nichols and Smith, both power-driving runners, as we mentioned a moment ago. Boy, he's just carrying people for extra yardage. Sean Burks got a hold of him and couldn't get him drugged down on the ground. First down for Ole Miss.
25 yards for him in the game so far. Ambrose is back in. Holder, flanker, goes to the right. Ambrose sets left. There's Austin. He'll run and throw. Oh! Incomplete. Yes, it's complete with Guidry making the tackle at the 10. And I thought maybe he had a possibility to intercept there. But Holder catches the ball ball at the 10-yard line. Good play for Ole Miss.
It was that, and it could have been, and possibly should have been, 6 points for LSU. And he turned around just a little bit quicker, read the ball. He had ample time to break to it. And that short, flat pattern down there can be dangerous at times.
Second down, 3 at the LSU 10. Ole Miss with the ball, and Austin with it. Wansley down to the 1-yard line. Hit by Dale. And the Tiger defense is giving some as the Rebels are just pushing the Tigers down the field.
John, this is a classic example of what the option will do to you. Here you see Austin coming to the left. He's got the lead guard. And there you saw Jeffrey Dale, who wasn't sure which way to go. He didn't know whether to go after the quarterback or to go after Wansley. Consequently, he didn't get either one of them. And that's what the option does. It puts the defensive people on the corners in a position where they don't know where to commit. You've just got to make a commitment to be aggressive to stop that option.
And from the 1-yard line, first down. Here's Wansley hurtling into the end zone, and the Rebels take the lead for the second time in the game. It's now 16 for Ole Miss and 12 for the LSU Tigers, and that was a 73-yard drive. Well, we have a real interesting ball game here, and a 4-point lead. One of the LSU men has been hurt as you watch Wansley get to the end zone.
And I tell you something that you hate to see it happen, but Tommy Clapp is the youngster who is down on the field. He's the one who has been moved in, I guess, LSU's 4th nose tackle this season. Clapp normally was a defensive end or defensive tackle on LSU's team. He was moved into the middle, but he is down on the ground. I guess he got caught up underneath that pile. Certainly don't know how serious the injury is, but he is nonetheless injured. The team doctors are out there. And he is the loss.
Being assisted off the field by John Anderson and the training crew, and George Enriquez is coming on to replace him. Enriquez wears jersey number 91. And there are the Rebels who've just traveled 73 yards. I thought probably the star of the drive, I guess we would surely have to say, would be Kent Austin, because he was really in control of it.
He was in control of it, both running and passing-wise. He operated and maneuvered the option extremely well, and when he had to throw the ball, he did it. And they're going for 2 points here, trying to get
a 4-point lead right now, and the Rebels are trying to get 2 more points. Austin rolls right, throws a pass, incomplete at the goal line. The score remains a 4-point lead in favor of Ole Miss with 50 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. Timeout in the game. Score: Rebels 16, Tigers 12.
She was alone and hurt, with no one to turn to for legal help or child support.
I was at the end of my rope, and a friend of mine suggested that I go to the DA's office. They cared. They showed that they were interested, and within a month, I was getting my payments. It means that my children and I have a future, and that we have, hopes and dreams, and they will be fulfilled.
He's been a great district attorney.
I'm Davey Orrick, your RCA color track man, and I'm proud to be with RCA because they're the real pioneers. RCA did the first solid-state TV. Remember? Brought you the VCR you programmed for a year. Gave you the smallest video camera. Put stereo sound in your TV. Now they've done it again. Built a big 26-inch screen that takes no more space than a 19-inch set. See RCA Color Track 2000. Buy yourself a piece of the future.
Get $75 back from RCA on Color Track Stereo TV at LaMonica's.
Well, this has been an interesting series, and tonight's game just fits right in with all the others. The kickoff goes to Hilliard. He rips up the yardage to the 28-yard line.
And you see, LSU reaching out, trying to do all the things they can in order to advance the ball. They get Dalton Hilliard back to return the kickoff. It's 15 plays, 75 yards. It's not a bad drive.
Well, and Coach Arnsberger's got to do something to counteract that. That was a good, solid drive by Ole Miss. They controlled the ball. They made solid first downs, and they got ahead in the game.
Here's a counter play with Hilliard carrying over the left side, and he's stopped by Huddleston, number 44. Last year, the Rebels beat the LSU Tigers at Jackson, 27-24, when LSU did not win a conference game all year. But 2 years ago here, the Tigers got the same kind of start that they got in tonight's game and went on to win that game in 1982 by a score of 45-8. And there was a tie at Jackson at 27-27. The Tigers came back at the last minute on a Risher pass, and here is James to the left side, stopped to about the 35-yard line on a second down play. Time has run out in the third quarter, and we have 15 minutes to go in this big Southeastern Conference game here in Baton Rouge. That's the end of the third quarter. The score is the Ole Miss Rebels 16, the LSU Tigers 12.
Bob Hester, candidate for criminal district court judge.
As a trial attorney and prosecutor for the past 13 years, I have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in our criminal courts. I know criminal law, evidence, and procedure. But more importantly, experience has taught me that career criminals belong in jail, not in our communities. Help me to protect our families. On November 6th, vote for me, Bob Hester, District Judge.
Remember when you were but a small child and you'd wake up at night frightened from a bad dream or one of life's little problems? Then you saw that night light burning, reassuring you that everything was all right. That's the way a lot of people look at Wright & Percy Insurance. You always feel better knowing it's there looking out for you. Like that nightlight, a burning symbol of security through insurance. Wright & Percy Insurance. 104 years of doing it right. Wright & Percy Insurance. Your nightlight.
Bert Jones, 15 minutes to play. The LSU team is down by 4 and really not looking too sharp in the last couple of quarters. What do you do?
The first thing I do is I pick up this 3rd and 4, because if you don't start here, it could be a long afternoon. And there he is down the middle. Fine pass.
That's McGee to the 45 in Rebel territory, a 20-yarder. And Wickersham responds immediately, and as if our gentleman had called the play.
Well, I certainly didn't call the play, but I certainly would like to have called the result. Jeff's doing a fine job here. The changes in coverage that Ole Miss is giving, LSU's gone to a little more slot and multiple wide receiver formations to cut down the opportunities to put them in man-to-man coverage.
And here's a handoff to Hilliard, banging up the middle as the Tigers continue with the 2 tight end offense, and we have a flag thrown after the play. And I think probably after Jeff Harrod made the tackle, we may have had some extracurricular conversation out on the playing field. Well, you can talk, but you have to be careful in what manner.
Well, some words are more expensive than others.
This one may be 15 yards, and one of those things. First down and 10 yards to go. Ole Miss has called timeout with 14:24 to go in the game. Timeout on the field. The score is Ole Miss 16, LSU 12.
Bob Hester is the most qualified candidate for District Judge Division C. That is why he received the unanimous endorsement of the Baton Rouge Alliance for Good Government. In his letter of endorsement, the president of the alliance stated, "The endorsement is based on your record and proven ability, including your extensive trial court experience and your demonstrated and proven temperament, which are required to handle the very demanding job of district judge." Bob Hester, a judge you can count on.
Play from the 24. Here is Hilliard at the 20, the 15, and out of bounds downs at the 13-yard line. First down and 10 to go for the Tigers as Hilliard scampers for 11 and Cunningham makes the stop. And a lot of times that 15-yard penalty in a situation like that will really spell doom for you.
It will, and doom is 15 yards when it advances the ball all the way down to almost your 20-yard line going into score. But there you saw what Dalton Hilliard does probably better than any running back, I think, in the country. As you see, he gets racked up at the line on that one, but what he does is he runs inside as well as any running back you can almost see because he's so quick in there. He reads his interior lineman block so well, and he makes that one quick cut that always seems to spring him right into the secondary. Fine running back and a fine inside running back for as small as he is.
And you know, a real sad thing for him is that this turf, natural turf, is kind of soft, and he plays better on artificial turf because he is so quick.
There goes James, and he can do that kind of dancing. He gets in behind Big Harold Johnson, the umpire, and is inside the 10. I think he's down to about the 7-yard line. He is. Cunningham and Freddie Nunn make the stop.
And here's a pretty good play. You saw the backside guard and tackle both pulled, went across, opened up a good hole, and then James spun off of the initial tackle to pick up some extra yardage. But this is a very crucial down for LSU. Third and about 4 yards. And, of course, the Tigers have made a nice drive here, aided by the 15-yard penalty. They've got to convert this into a touchdown.
Third down at the 7. Wickersham will throw, or will he? He does throw it away. He was pressured behind the line by Terry Williamson. Big number 97, biggest man on the Rebel roster at 286 pounds. And the Tigers are going to try for 3 points, apparently. Ronald Lewis, a freshman from New Orleans, is going to be the kicker in place of Juan Batanzas. Number 8. And what a pressure situation from the 14 in Rebel territory. The kick is good. Timeout in the game. The score is Ole Miss 16, LSU 15.
There's nothing more frightening than a mother with children and a divorced husband who won't pay what's fair.
So finally I called Mr. Brown and I told him, I've got to have some help. They handled it in such a way that it felt like you were talking to a friend, a person that had compassion and understood your problem. And within 3 weeks, they had found my husband, taken him to court, and everything was on the way.
The record proves O.C. Brown has been a great district attorney.
The Tiger kickoff goes to the goal line. And Davis comes out of there to about the 20-yard line, stopped by Willie Bryant, number 35. I think they'll spot the ball at the 21.
And John, Tommy Clapp is back in with the defense, so obviously whatever injury he suffered is not sufficient to cause him any serious problems. Now, there's a guy you certainly don't want to injure. I hope he's just sitting down resting.
Well, Dr. Bo Strange has been sitting down talking with him, looking at his knee.
Wansley and Humphrey are behind Kent Austin. Humphrey is at the line, no gain. Hit hard by Michael Brooks. Well, we told you about him, and you've seen the whole story right there.
And he kind of tells you himself on the football field, does he not?
Yes, he does. 77,649 people are here tonight. Watch the continuation of this series, which began back in 1894. Two teams have met 72 times. Second down, 10 from the 21. Rebels lead by 1. A pass. Run. Fumble. At the 30, LSU has the ball. Jeffrey Dale ends up with it. Jeffrey Dale recovers. Michael Brooks jars the ball away from the ball carrier. And it's first down and 10 yards to go for the LSU but the Tigers have a big chance here. Wickersham to throw. Throws. Incomplete to McGee. It was covered by Davis. What an unusual game.
Jeff Wickersham mighty fortunate at that time that he got away without an interception. Davis had McGee very, very well covered. The ball was thrown really out of McGee's grasp. Now I know why Davis is a defensive back rather than a receiver. He should have caught that ball.
That's Hilliard. Sort of bounced off the line of scrimmage, didn't he?
Rejected on that one for sure.
Ball is at the 30. It's third down and 9.
Third down and 9, and a big third down because this is when they have to capitalize on the turnover, which they haven't done previously in the game.
Wickersham has the Tigers ready.
Here they come.
They go, and out of bounds at the 17. First down, 10 yards to go.
Up the weak safety. Jeff Wickersham sits back, throws, sits an out route to Eric Martin, who runs a tremendous out route, and it's a first down for LSU.
Cunningham made the tackle, but too late. Here's Hilliard looking for the crease. Net head on and thrown back, but he does get 4 valuable yards.
And 4 yards down here on first down inside the 20 is a long 4 yards because this is what you have to do. You have to advance the ball on first down. And there he gets not only 4 but 5 yards. And you see Dalton Hilliard is one of the shiftiest runners inside, as I said earlier. And that time he found a little crack and went for it.
No gain for Gary James. Michael Porter 60 and Marcus Green 76. Big tackle of him at the 14.
Both of LSU's running backs have had very, very serious problems keeping their footing. Saw Gary James slip as he got towards the hole and tried to make a cut. Dalton Hilliard has slipped 5 or 6 times in critical situations.
Third down and 7 at the 14 in Ole Miss territory after fumble recovery. Here's James. You'll have to hurry. He does hurry. He's at the 15. He's at the 10, 11-yard line and out of bounds. And there's a flag on the play. I wonder if there might have been a clip. We'll have to see. If so, that'd be bad for LSU, but it could be the other way. It could be an infraction against the Ole Miss Rebels.
It looks as if they're talking to the Ole Miss captain, so typically when that happens, it's usually against LSU.
We begin to think about field goal range here, so that's why this particular penalty, if against LSU, is doubly important.
Rather unusual call on the third down. Had they been able to avoid that first initial rush there, they probably would have had no problem picking up the first down, but it slowed Gary James down to the point on that little reverse that it almost put the play out with just no chance.
15 yards against LSU out to the 29-yard line. Crucial penalty.
Tipping by the offense, 15 yards, third down.
The down stays the same. But the Tigers still need to go all the way down to the 7-yard line to pick up a first down. 22 yards. And the Tigers may be out of field goal range, but let's see. Here's Wickersham to throw. Here goes the pass, too high. It flew off the hand of Wickersham, intended for Eric Martin. And so now the Tigers are forced to try for 3 points, and apparently they will with Ronald Lewis in to try it. This will be a 46-yard kick.
And Ronald Lewis has the opportunity to become very popular very fast. Very unpopular also
Tigers can go ahead if Lewis makes this one. Here's the kick. It's on the way. It is good. Timeout of the game with 9:51 to play. The score now is LSU 18, Ole Miss 16.
Late one evening, an intruder entered her home and brutally raped her.
Your emotional state can really become very severe unless you just are very determined not to let it be that way. But the Stop Rape Crisis Center has helped a lot along all those lines. Their representative was there before I was even fully aware that I was awake and knew that I had come out of surgery.
He's been a great district attorney.
The kickoff by Matt DeFrank goes to Davis at the goal line. And boy, he just did miss stepping on the goal line. He went down to a knee. Had he gone down to a knee after stepping on the goal line and then been touched by an LSU player, would have been a safety. But as it is, he was back there, and it's 1st and 10 for Ole Miss from the Rebel 20-yard line. That was close. Let's watch it again here.
Just how close was it? Is it land in the end zone?
Oh, he's an inch or two away from the goal line. Rebels now are down by 2 again, and here they are with Austin carrying and pitching out. That's Wansley out of bounds, bumped away by Burks.
You know, everybody around here is going to be asking that, who is Ronald Lewis?
Tell us about Ronald Lewis.
Freshman, Abramson High School in New Orleans. He was considered a blue chipper last year. He's also a punter, averaged 40 yards a punt in high school, but kicked a 55-yard field goal his senior year in high school, so well capable of the kick he just made. But what a crucial kick for that youngster to come in this game with all the pressure on him.
And we have some fog forming over the field here, but a hot game in progress. Up the middle. I think that's Robert Smith, hit by Brooks and company. At about the 28-yard line. A couple of yards shy of a first down. The Tigers are trying to atone for missed opportunities in the game. And right now they're on top by 2 with 9:14 to play. Ambrose is wide left, and Harbor is set to the right. 3rd and 2 play, and Mr. Austin is going to run the ball. Open field. Out of bounds, shy of the 40-yard line. It's about 11 on the play. Kevin Goodrich chases him off the field. The Tigers had the receivers covered, but the option possibility presented itself to Mr. Austin.
Well, you see, he's been very successful with this. Both guards are leading this. It's kind of a delayed rollout. It's just 2 guards out in front of him, and I really think that he was thinking run first if he had the opportunity. He's got receivers out there, and if somebody's open, he'll throw it, but he's got 2 blockers out in front of him. He wanted to pick up 2 yards. Boy, he got much more than that. A big gain for Ole Miss.
First down, the Rebels at their 39, down by 2 points, and Austin fades back to throw. Incomplete. Looking for Humphrey. Humphrey's not one of the big targets for Kent Austin. 8:53 to play in the game. Second down 10. The Rebels are at their 39.
That's not a bad night for a guy who's not supposed to be a very good passer. 16 for 24, a 77-yard touchdown. I think Kent Austin has had a fabulous night, both running and passing the ball.
He's thrown for 6 touchdowns this year. Second down and 10 at the Rebel 39-yard line, and back goes Austin again. He wants to run. Going to get shy of 10 yards as Wilson forces him to the turf. They say at the 48-yard line, so he's about a yard shy of a first down.
But that was a fine play on Kent Austin's part once again.
I tell you, that play is becoming the bread and butter of their offense this half.
It's been a pretty good one. It's pretty taxing on the quarterback, but he doesn't seem to feel a whole lot of pressure on him. He just turns it up, goes upfield, picks up 8 or 9 yards each time he runs the play.
3rd and 1. The Rebels at their 48-yard line, and let's see now, against which team this penalty will be stepped off.
Smart play by Kent Austin either way. If the penalty's against Ole Miss, it's 5 yards anyway, regardless. If the penalty's against LSU, Austin goes ahead and takes the ball. He makes his first down anyway, so he's going to have the option. A real bright play for the quarterback.
8:09 to play in the game, and on the penalty to the LSU 46. And Joe Hicks tells us about it.
Defensive team, offside.
It's 1st and 10, the Rebels at the LSU 46. There they come. Wilson and Clapp we see in the picture.
Get some credit to the center, too, John, for snapping the ball while LSU was in the neutral zone.
That's Wayne Pierce, number 57, from Vicksburg. There's a little counter with Humphrey, his biggest play of the game, ridden down by Hobley. It's like about 7 or 8 yards on this play. They're going to spot the ball at the LSU 38-yard line. Now, first down, when you're ahead by 2 points and you give up that amount of yardage on first down, you are asking for some trouble.
You are. Each time you see Humphreys turn up the field like this, pick up 8 yards on first down, and they are down by 2, but they certainly aren't giving up once again. They're just putting together another drive, moving in on LSU territory.
2nd and 2, and to pass goes Austin way down for all the marbles. Ambrose has it for the touchdown. He gets past Pearson, and a 38-yarder's in the books, and the Rebels jump out in front again.
I tell you, they throw the ball to him again. He catches it. He scores a touchdown every time they throw it to him.
That's an 80-yard drive, a 38-yarder. Ambrose scores his 2nd touchdown.
And what a fine play. Ambrose went down. Pearson is in a position where he couldn't see that the ball was thrown. Ambrose stopped, came back to the ball, made a good diving catch, and he watched the ball all the way into his hands. Boy, he's a fine-looking young receiver. Certainly has helped them this evening, hasn't he?
He certainly has. LSU wanted him coming out of Neville High School, and right now they wish that he certainly hadn't gone to Ole Miss.
Now let's see what the strategy will be for Ole Miss as we look at the Rebel side of the field. That's Billy Brewer with his hands in his pocket. There's a time called here while Ole Miss discusses whether to go for 1 or go for 2.
I tell you, LSU is kind of playing a losing proposition right now. They haven't been able to stop Ole Miss of late, and Ole Miss is getting touchdowns, and when LSU scores, they're getting field goals. You know, you're not going to win very many ball games. You taking 3 and giving them 7.
Unless you score 3 to our 1.
Coach Arnsparger's trying to figure out what to do here as Ambrose, just a touch of irony here, has caught his 2nd 38-yard touchdown pass. 2 catches, 115 yards, and 2 scores for him. That's not a bad night's work. Now, Ole Miss apparently is going to go for 2 points. They tried before to do that and were not successful. The Rebels have a 4-point lead and could go ahead by 6 points if the 2-point try is good. My addition is not correct. 238 there, old friend, makes 76. All right, a 2-point try. The Rebels at the south end, ahead by 4, want to make it ahead by 6. Austin to throw. He can't get it away. He finally does. It's intercepted at the goal line by Pearson. And so the score remains 22-18, Ole Miss over LSU.
But even though it was an interception, it was a gutsy play by Kent Austin and a heads-up play. They're going for 2. They come in there in a no-win situation where he's fixing to be tackled, so what does he do? He just throws the ball up for grabs. Watch him here. He knows that he can't make it. He's looked all over the field for a receiver. Can't seem to find one, and right before he goes down in the grass, just throw the ball somewhere and let somebody else try to do something with it. He knows no one can run it back.
And give some credit to John Hazard and Michael Brooks both. Brooks kept containment on the outside, and John Hazard put the pressure on the quarterback, Austin, grabbed him around the legs, and was pulled into the ground when he flipped it up into the end zone.
And to correct our arithmetic, the first Ambrose touchdown pass was 77 yards. The fog continues to roll in on the stadium, and we have 7:22 to play in the game. Ole Miss has resumed its leadership position in the game by 22-18, and the Tigers are preparing to receive the kickoff from Bill Smith.
Bert, what did he mean by our arithmetic?
Well, it certainly wasn't Randy's. As long as I've been working with Randy, he has never made a mistake. He's given us the right facts and figures every time.
You fellas are too tough. Here's Smith to kick off to Gary James at the 1. He's at the 10. He's at the 15, the 20. Steps through the gap to the 30-yard line. And he is stopped very effectively there for the Rebels by Richard Jackson, number 56.
7:15 left in this quarter and left in this game. LSU's going to have to put on a drive here.
The Tigers entered the game with a record of 5-1-1.
Gary James finding a hole on a kickoff return. You see them putting their best running backs in that kickoff return position. Bill wants to move that ball.
There's Hilliard dancing up the middle. Short yardage and a stop by Reed. Benton Reed, Baton Rougean on the Ole Miss roster. And the ball is at the 33-yard line. Second down, 7 to go for LSU with 6:50 to play in the game.
And Dalton Hilliard coming off the field once again limping. He did earlier. The doctors were looking at his knee, and once again he's limping, sitting on the sideline on the bench.
Wickersham to the air. Safety valve pass to Andrews. He's always there. First down for the Tigers. That's Rafton, number 13. 12-yard gain.
Good play by Craig, too. He's blocking in the backfield, and he's looking and looking and looking. You see that big horse collar right there? Finally, no one comes, so he releases, and he's the guy who is open and who makes the big play. That's good protection by the Tiger offensive line. A good decision by Jeff Wickersham. Nice play by Craig Rafton.
Garland Jean-Baptiste is in the game for the LSU Tigers, and Wickersham fades back to throw on first down. Long one coming up here. That's Martin down the field. He won't get it. It's incomplete. Good coverage by Lee Davis, number 9. Second down and 10. 6:09 to play in the game. Wickersham and the Tigers going for the long pass. And the Tigers are down by 4 points. Ole Miss has 22 points and LSU has 18. Stay in the conference race. This game is a must for the LSU Tigers. Baptiste is chopped down at the line of scrimmage just 1 yard. Benton Reed makes the tackle. James comes on. Curtis, the second of the tight ends, comes out, and so does Andrews. So the Tigers now will enter a passing down with no tight ends in the game. Now let's watch 5 men go down the field. Here's a single setback with James, a slot back to the left.
Here they come. Nobody on the slot, man.
And he has plenty of time to throw, and we have interference called all over the place as Barton is run up by Stephen Cunningham down the field. 2 penalty markers are on the field.
And what may be more important, or not more important, but here you'll see strong safety coming right off of the slot man blitzing. They've got good protection. Jeff looking downfield. Eric Martin on the bottom of your screen does not have any chance to get downfield. It looked like he was riding piggyback all the way down.
Now that penalty will be 15 yards from the spot of the previous down. Normally, it would be an effective pass completion at the point of the infraction. First down from that point. But this is a change in the rules this year.
50 pass interference, 15 yards, and a first down.
But John, I tell you, it was a good play by Cunningham because he was in a position where Martin could have gotten by him. I don't know if the ball was thrown well enough for Martin to catch, but he certainly would have been wide open. And Cunningham, I guess, just thought, I better go ahead and trip him, and we'll take the 15 yards rather than give up the touchdown.
5.5 minutes to play. That's Gary James with the football. Stopped at about the 37. Huddleston makes the tackle from linebacker.
It's a very physical game, as all Ole Miss games have been with LSU. We've got Dalton Hilliard on the bench. with an injured knee. I don't think too severely, but it looks as if he may not be coming back in the game. Garland Jean-Baptiste came out the last play injured also.
Wickersham will be back to throw. And he hits Raji McGee. Good run after the ball. He may go. He's at the 10. Look at McGee to the 3-yard line. What a run. There's your game highlight right there. A 33-yard play, and McGee is the total star.
What's almost as important as this run after you catch the ball is watch Raji McGee on the inside. He's sitting in front of 3 linebackers, but before the ball was thrown, he was behind those 3 linebackers. He saw that he was coming to him, so he broke in front of the linebackers, avoiding the interception, and then he shows you what an excellent athlete he is to move the ball downfield and score in position.
First down at the 3. Here goes Gary James. People in front of him. He'll get there. He's not quite at the goal line. Bumped down hard. We might mention that McGee is wearing Doug Morrow's old number. And Jeff Harrod and Lee Davis collaborate on the stop as the ball is just inches away from the goal line at the north end. Number 80 is not a bad number.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks a lot better now than it used to. That guy can do a lot of things that I never could.
3:55 to play. The Tigers are inches away, and here goes Gary James to the goal line. Touchdown, LSU. It is a 70-yard drive, and the highlight undoubtedly is the run by Raji McGee. Here's the touchdown play.
Just topping it off here, Gary James running awful hard in there, knows how far he's got to go, knows what he has to do, sticks his nose in there, gets the 6.
Now, what do you think's going through Ron Lewis's mind right now? He got a 2-point lead.
I know what's going through my mind.
And he's thinking of what happened to Juan Batanzas twice earlier this ball game.
Barker will hold, and Ronald Lewis, the freshman, will be kicking, and he does. It is good. And with 3:52 to play in the game, the Tigers of LSU have assumed a 3-point lead, 25-22, and what a game.
This has really turned into an exciting game this half. You know, at halftime, you kind of had the feeling, well, LSU has played terribly. They've given up opportunities. Ole Miss has squandered their opportunities. It just didn't seem like a very exciting game. This half has been fun football to watch. Here you're going to see Jeff Wickersham again. Now, this is a great play by McGee because, as Bert said, he came back toward the football to avoid the chance of an interception. Then he took it, and he just decided he was going to score a touchdown or get as close as he could on individual effort. And with the natural ability that this youngster has, he can be a great player in the future. That was the big play of the drive. I think that was as exciting a play as we have had all year. 91 yards on 3 receptions, and that was a big one there.
That one went for 33 yards, Randy, correct? The McGee run. And that was the highlight of this game, at least up to this point, as Matt DeFrank will kick off. 3:52 to play in this game. LSU leads by 3. And DeFrank kicks a wobbler down to Davis at the goal line. He'll have to run this one out. He does very well, stopped by Walden Cager.
And Matt DeFrank.
No, Matt got in there.
Now.
And the other man is Mickey Harris.
Hey, Lee Davis made a good play here. He took the ball, knew he had to come out because he had gotten into the field to play. And he weaved his way through the coverage team, got to the outside. Matt DeFrank came over with Walden Cager and made the tackle.
So the Rebels have the football at their 29-yard line. First down with 3:44 to play. The Tigers are ahead by 3. Austin off to Humphrey.
And the clock is ticking with 3:38, 3:37. It has become a factor now, Doug.
And you know, LSU has not stopped Ole Miss in an awful long time. And Ole Miss trying to establish this inside running game just to keep LSU's linebackers at home. But you know what they've got to be coming with. They've got to be coming with either the delay rollout or the option to the outside, or they're going to try to go deep. Ambrose is not in the game, but he'll be in there this series.
2nd and 6. The Tigers blitz, and here is Austin to throw. Does. Intercepted by touchdown, and that will put it on ice. Jeffrey Dale steps in front of the receiver and carries it home, and he's mobbed by his teammates.
Let's watch this now. Ole Miss tried to come up with a little trickery. They faked the run. They're going out into the flat, and they've gone there an awful lot of times this game. Jeffrey Dale, with perfect timing, kept his concentration and watched the ball into his hand, trotted into the end zone. What a big play, putting LSU up 31-22.
Jeffrey Dale runs it back, and Ronald Lewis comes in to try the point after. The Tigers now are ahead 31-22. Lewis boots the point after. 3 minutes to play. The score now, the LSU Tigers 32, the Ole Miss Rebels 22. And this game could very well at this point be on ice, but it has taken some doing.
It certainly has taken some doing, and they missed a lot of opportunities, but a good team, and LSU is just that, will overcome these mishaps that they had early in the game and come back and respond and play good ball and put it away. They put it together. Now they're ahead by 10 points with 3 minutes left in the game. Looks like another SEC victory that has to go on and come to the
I don't think you can tell Ole Miss short either. They've got 3 minutes left in the ball game. The Rebels have played an outstanding football game, John and Bert. I think that they played much better than anyone expected, and the game's not over yet. Ken Austin's had an outstanding evening, and they have talent.
We give Dale credit, of course, and we give a great deal of credit to Roger McGee. There's Jeffrey Dale. What a fine career he's had here. But I think a pat on the back is deserved by Ronald Lewis, the freshman kicker. Came in under some pressure.
There's no question about it, because first of all, as you watch Matt DeFrank kick off, Lewis came in, had to kick 2 critical field goals in order to keep the team in the hunt. Pretty tough tackling down there, but he did, and he kept the team in the hunt. He made the extra points. He's done everything that you can ask a kicker to do, and I'm afraid we might have found a new kicker for LSU, Doug.
Ambrose returned that one out to the 24-yard line, and Nicky Hazard racked him up right there. Number 1, well, LSU still playing. The Tigers are impressed at their 6th victory with 1 defeat and a tie. And a must game, as we mentioned earlier. Austin to the air. Look at Brooks takes him out of there. First down as Holder catches and steps off the field at the 37.
And, John, I tell you, Ole Miss got away with a little something that time. LSU's had problems containing Austin the entire evening, and this play is a graphic depiction. Michael Brooks is going to be in at the top. Now, watch this clip. The clip from the back, he tripped over the halfback who had stepped outside. That is an illegal block. The official did not see it, but that's certainly going to be a tough type of block to overcome if you're supposed to keep containment.
1st and 10, the Rebels at their 37. Austin to the air again. He's being chased, gets it complete to Wansley. Cobley knocks him off the field. A great play by Wansley of Ole Miss. He's out of bounds at the Tiger 32.
And this Ole Miss team has not by any means given up. Excellent effort, excellent execution. A screen to take advantage of the aggressiveness LSU showing on the pass rush. Wansley with a fine effort himself, weaving through tacklers, fighting, scratching his way. Lifford Hobley coming over, and the last man who made the tackle knocking him out of bounds.
The Rebels first down at the LSU 32-yard line. LSU has a 10-point lead. Here goes Arthur Humphrey. He's running hard, isn't he? He even got by Michael Brooks that time.
Which is hard to do, but you can see that Billy Brewer's reinstated character on this team. By no means have they even thought about giving up. It's just 2 minutes, 15 seconds left in the game, and they're coming out with a 2-minute situation knowing they're down by 10 points, and they're going after it.
Here's Austin to throw. Got Harbor on one hand, and it's incomplete. That was the second down play. We may be erroneously earlier called it a waist down. What we mean by that is the fact that it's a short yardage down, and you have a down to try something that you wouldn't ordinarily try otherwise. I've seen Bert Jones do that many times.
Most of them are wasted, though, John, because I rarely ever completed a pass down there.
Actually, that's where the term came from when Bert Jones played.
Oh, that's pretty good. Put Bert in and let him waste it down.
If he were not a great player, we couldn't say it. Third down on the yard to go. Austin to the air again, looking for a man. Has his man out of bounds. He has the ball, they say, at the 11-yard line. And then Moffitt catches a 12-yarder to keep Ole Miss alive with 2 minutes left on the scoreboard clock.
And that's Tim Moffitt, and he did something that Bert mentioned a little while ago that Raji McGee did, and all of the great receivers do it, and that is come back to the football. You see Moffitt coming back to the quarterback to make the catch. That keeps the separation between the receiver and the defensive back. That keeps the receiver in a position to get to the ball first. Great play by Moffitt.
32-22. First down at the LSU 11 for Ole Miss, and Austin rolls to the side. Has a man down at the goal line. It is complete. And to Jamie Holder. I think Jamie's caught his first pass of the night. He's hit immediately by Hobley, but it's going to be right at the goal line. Not a touchdown, but very, very close. And a measurement will take place here to determine if the Rebels have a first down that deeply in LSU territory. 1:47 to play. Touchdown here would narrow the gap, of course.
Well, John, I tell you, they score a touchdown here, go for 2 points, and if they make that, of course, you know where they are. 2 points down, recover the onside kick, and they've got to find field goal kickers. So, I mean, they're mighty close right now. LSU's got to fight and scratch for everything it's worth.
First down, just to go a few inches at the south end of the playing field. And the Rebels are trying to close the gap on the LSU Tigers with 1:40 to play. That's Wansley for a touchdown for Ole Miss. It is now 32-28. LSU with a 4-point lead.
Now the big question is, will Ole Miss go for 2? Watch on this play. It's this guy. He jumps up 3 yards back, over the top of everyone, does the loop-de-loop, 6 points for Ole Miss.
Nathan Wansley. And the Rebels are going to go for what appears to be a 1-point try. They missed on 2 two-point tries of the game. Howard to kick. The kick is between the uprights and good. So with 1:36 left to play in the game, the score is now LSU 32 and Ole Miss 29. Had Ole Miss been kicking field goals instead of trying the 2 points, then they'd only be down by 1.
This is true. LSU's been kicking field goals and extra points instead of missing them. They'd be ahead by more.
Would you kindly say that my arithmetic is improving?
No, this is fun to watch. It's fun unless you root for LSU, and then it's a cliffhanger right now.
The guys up here on the front line on the onside kick team wish the game were over right now. It is not a fun place to be the front line on the onside kick receiving team when you know you're going to get your block knocked off regardless of what happens.
Well, let's check the people who are on the front line. Grafton and Dale and
Chris Cruz over there, Herman Fontenot,
DeWitt, and Herman Fontenot, and the second line is comprised of Guidry and Chris Carrier, Eric Martin, and Lippert Hobley. Now, all of those people have the ability to catch the football and to hold on to it.
Now, remember the onside kick that Vanderbilt used successfully against LSU. Whether Ole Miss will use that or a variation or whether they'll pay any attention to it, it'll be interesting to watch.
Here's the onside kick attempt by Ole Miss with 1:36 to play. And the Rebels are down by 3 points, 32-29. Here's the kick. It is going.
Oh, no!
At the 50-yard line. And there's a big scramble for the ball at the 50-yard line. The Rebels are contending they have the ball, and LSU is contending that the Tigers have the ball.
LSU has it.
It's LSU's ball. First down at about midfield, and I think Chris Cruz got the ball.
Well, I tell you, Chris sure made it exciting here because
he dropped dropped it at one stage of the game
He
here.
sure did. He had it, dropped it down. He got down and apparently got down on top of it sufficiently to cover the play.
Just routine, Doug.
Another day at the park.
Another day at the park.
Just a routine catch of a bouncing ball with 1:36 to play in the game, and your team is ahead by 3. Cruz pulls it off. And here are the Tigers in a tight formation on a running play by Gary James. He slips. Picks up 2.
Now, Ole Miss has one timeout left, and I don't know. I guess they're going to let LSU run a couple of plays before they decide to use it. I wouldn't wait too long if you only got one.
The Tigers will be at Birmingham next week to play Alabama in an afternoon game. Then at Starkville, the afternoon of November 17th to play Mississippi State, and finish up here the night of November 24th at 7 o'clock to play Tulane. Ole Miss has the week off, and then Tennessee and Mississippi State. That's Gary James dropping to the right side.
And they're calling for a fumble, but umpire, I think, called it down before he dropped the ball.
To the Ole Miss 44. James carries the ball to that point, and he's walking very calmly back into the huddle. But we've had a lot of interesting things happen in this game. The clock shows 35 seconds left to go in this game, and the clock is the most interesting aspect about the whole stadium situation right now. 3rd down and about 3. Gary James again at right guard. Close for a first down, and we have 16 seconds time. And with 15 seconds left on the clock, the LSU Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels are looking at things, and the Rebels have called for time.
Now, here's the situation. The clock is stopped, 15 seconds left. If LSU goes for the 4th down and does not make it on the change of possession, the clock will stop, and Ole Miss will have it there. If LSU punts the ball, certainly Ole Miss is going to come with everybody. They may put 15 guys in there to try to block it.
I would fall out of the stadium if they punt the ball.
Well, you better get ready to
Get
fall.
ready to fall.
Because I was going to say I would try to punt it. I certainly wouldn't give it to him at midfield with 15 seconds left. I mean, it's one completed pass, and then you can kick a field goal to tie.
Parker is back ostensibly to punt. I still think he's going to run.
Have you ever seen him give an intentional safety from on the other side of midfield?
I think he can run around for 15 seconds.
What if he doesn't?
We're just thinking out loud. We're fans just as you are. And let's see what happens here. 15 seconds left to go, and Parker does punt it. The kick is going back to the 10. It was touched by the Tigers at the 13-yard line.
And you know, John, I don't know why they downed the ball. If they just let the ball bounce around until it died by itself, clock may very well have run out.
We have 6 seconds left on the scoreboard clock. The Tigers elected to punt the ball, and so the Rebels have it 1st and 10 at their 13, down by 3, 32-29 in a wild, interesting game. And the Rebels are back way up there, and the Tigers looking for the Indians in the last 6 seconds of the game.
Think they're going to blitz?
7 deep defense for LSU as Austin throws a Hail Mary. It's way down the field. Look out, interception. It is intercepted by LSU as John Burke gets a ricochet ball, and the Tigers of LSU have beaten the Rebels of Ole Miss in a cliffhanger at Tiger Stadium before more than 77,000 people. And what a game. What a game. The two coaches are meeting at midfield right there. You see it. And I'm sure that each one is telling the other that he's glad the game is over. Bill Arnsparger has seen some things about Ole Miss that maybe he will remember in the future, and Billy Brewer has come away with respectability, although he has lost his 5th game. And Bill Arnsparger, I'm sure, is delighted that this game has ended up, and surely in a positive note for the LSU Tigers, who win their 6th game. And the Tigers stay in the thick of the conference race, gentlemen. Today, Florida beat Auburn. That would take care of Auburn, assuming that LSU would remain unbeaten in the conference race for the next 2 games. Florida still has the opportunity to play Georgia, which is unbeaten in the conference. Florida is unbeaten, of course, but there's a question mark there. And so, a lot of things were attended to this game that had nothing to do with the play. But the final count, LSU 32, Ole Miss 29. Bert Jones?
Well, John, it's a game that LSU feels very fortunate to get out a winner. But I think Bill Arnsparger is probably expressing in his own mind a lot of concern coming out of this game, because this was not one of your best played games on offense for LSU. They came out a winner, and that's what counts in the end. But by no means were they that impressive on the offensive side of the ball. Fortunately for them, they were able to get a couple of points on defense, get some big breaks with fumbles, and they got a couple of points out of it, but they sure turned a lot of points away.
Doug Morrow?
John, that's right. You know, the book is just not closed. Sometimes when you have a game where you play poorly, at least when the game is over, you say, thank goodness this game is over, I can forget about it. Unfortunately, Bill Arnsparger and his staff can't forget about it, because they're going to see the option against Mississippi State and haven't stopped it yet tonight. I bet you they're also going to now see it against Alabama. Alabama runs it a little bit, but I bet they run it a lot next week, because LSU was not able to stop it, and you may very well see the Tulane Green Wave put it in for the last game of the season. And those kind of things could cause nightmares for Bill. It'll be interesting to see what they do to counteract it. It's a very exciting game tonight.
Stand by, gentlemen. Let's review how this took place tonight, and just go along with me here. After a fumble recovery early in the game at the Ole Miss 23, Hilliard scored from the 1, but Tonjes missed his first point after touchdown. LSU after a fumble recovery at the Ole Miss 17. Martin fumbled the ball back at the Rebel 12. Then the Rebels had a 77-yard pass play. Austin to Ambrose. And the point after by Howard was good. Ole Miss led 7-6. Then Howard kicked the 47-yard field goal. At the end of a 42-yard drive, the Rebels 10-6 ahead. Then LSU, a 58-yard pass play. Wickersham to Hilliard. Great run by Hilliard. And he was stopped down at the 23. LSU got no points after that. Then the Tigers, after another fumble recovery at the Ole Miss 29, the Tigers missed a 47-yard field goal try. Then in the third quarter, LSU, a 38-yard pass play. Wickersham to McGee after an 80-yard drive. The Tigers missed his second point after. The Tigers led precariously 12-10. Later in the period, Howard for Ole Miss missed a 45-yard field goal try after a 59-yard drive. Then the Rebels, a 73-yard drive, Wansley scored. 2-point try after, not good. Rebels 16-12. Then a 24-yard field goal by a new field goal kicker, freshman Ronald Lewis. And the Rebels then led by 16-15 with 12:55 to go in the game. After another fumble recovery at the Ole Miss 31, Lewis kicked a 46-yard field goal to put the Tigers ahead to stay 18-16. The Rebels, a 38-yard pass play, Austin to Ambrose, who got his second score, and the 2-point try after, not good. The Rebels led at that point 22-18. Then James scored after a 70-yard drive. McGee's great 33-yard run after a pass completion was the highlight of that drive. Lewis kicked the point after. The Tigers then were ahead for sure, 25-22. Dale then intercepted, ran back 37 yards to the end zone to put the Tigers ahead 32-22. And the Rebels came back and scored on a long drive. Wansley counted, and Howard kicked the point after. In the final count, LSU 32-29 over Ole Miss. Quickly in rushing, LSU 99 yards, Ole Miss 178. In passing, LSU 255, Ole Miss 280. Total offense 354 for the Tigers and 458 for Ole Miss. The final count is LSU 32, Ole Miss 29. This is John Ferguson with Bert Jones and Doug Morrill. Thank you and good night from Tiger Stadium.